Hello, welcome to the office hours, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul, Berserker 01, Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here at the AstroPub. Your space provider at the end of which, sit back, relax, enjoy the show. We got a good one for you. I am a little sick. I caught something in my trip over the weekend, so we'll see how long this goes because I may run out of energy. But how y'all doing? Ryan, how you doing? So this is a live stream that I do on Thursdays, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, which means it's 5 p.m. Pacific. Come join us, twitch.tv/TheAstroPub, youtube.com/TheAstroPubLive. Come join us for all sorts of fun stuff. Hey, Shinobi. So today, we are...
You can take away my spaceship.
Spaceship.
You can take away my space suit.
Suit.
You can even take away my space lasers.
No pew-pews.
But you can never,
Never.
ever
Ever.
take away my space game.
MMOR Goat just resubscribed for 15 months, 07.
Thank you so much.
You can take away my spaceship.
Spaceship.
You can take away my space suit.
Suit.
You can even take away my space lasers.
No pew-pews.
But you can never,
Never.
ever
Ever.
take away my space game.
RD Madeira just resubscribed for 31 months.
Thank you so much, RD Madeira, for that 31 months. Thank you so much, Morgoth, for that 15 months. Wait for it. Hey, Jakaro.
You can take away my spaceship.
Spaceship.
You can take away my space suit. You can even take away my space lasers. But you can never,
Never.
ever
Ever.
take away my space game.
Ghost 1800 just resubscribed for 41 months. Ready to shift your perspective from the ordinary to the extraordinary? Ready to reset your expectations from the everyday to the highest heights? From breathtaking views, incredible dining, to unmatched shopping, Crusader is calling. Stay at the luxurious accommodations, tour Empire-class shipyards, and bask in a sunset that is truly unforgettable. Whether you're just looking to spend the day cloud hopping with the Stormwells or relaxing by Green Circle's Infinite Spa.
I hate you, Ghost. Oh, I hate that. Yeah, he just worsened me. The hype for is real for what makes it into the Q1 patch. We'll learn more about it in February. I mean, everyone knows January is a bad time for Star Citizen in general because, and for those of you who don't know, I'll explain it very, very briefly, especially if you're new. Two things happen. One, January is the year that all of the major kind of conferences happen. So it's when CIG, like say they have a,
Them biddies.
Why is the Redeemer the Empire's most sought-after gunship? The latest chapter in Aegis Dynamics' history of building the world's finest military-grade spacecraft, the Redeemer, brings together power, agility and lethality to deliver next-generation capabilities for decades to come. Designed to be the universe's most capable, best-value multi-role fighter available, no other ship comes close to matching the Redeemer's unique combination of dependable strength and innovation.
So much garbage. All right. Try not to get hyped. Yeah. So how to put this. As I was saying before, it's gonna happen with a lot more pauses because I'm sick. Is this one of the UAE banned bots? You mean the UE? Yes, this is exactly the reason why they did. January is so if, like, say the entirety of, gosh, hey Luna Maria. Say the entirety of the ship teams want to get together to talk about the planned future of ships for this year, for whatever reason. CIG will pay for all of the ship team members to go to the UK or somewhere, and they would all sit together and they'd hash out their plans over the course of like a week or so. That's what happened last year with I think the Arena Commander team and the server meshing team. So.
Hey, a tip!
Luna, super chatted $14.75. Paul, hello and happy to see you. We missed you last week. 07.
Thank you so much, Linda, for that $20 Canadian. I picked something up on the way home. The crud didn't help that like temperatures were super low where I was. So it was super low here too, but it was snowing where I was. Drives 16 hours there and 16 hours back. All right. Whew. Anyways, because of those things happen, a lot of stuff isn't done. The other thing is that a lot of people take this time for vacation. So, there's not a lot of stuff going on. It's already built in for like being kind of a slow month anyways. So a lot of people at CIG will just take this month to go, hey, I'm just going to take the day off, the month off, or several weeks off. And so they slowly roll back in, and you won't see everyone coming back to work until like February, generally speaking. So I wouldn't expect we'd see a lot of the video production team coming back to work until around this week or so. And if that's the case, it takes them several weeks to get videos put together. You're starting to work on some Hadesian artifacts for the next Austin Citizen Con? Awesome. With Wawatoma? The plan I have, at least, Diabolus, is to, for lore. Yeah, I was going to say, for those of you who don't know, the plan I have is when the next time the Citizen Con's in Austin, I'm going to get a booth for lore, for the League of Relic Enthusiasts, and I'm going to basically try to make a nice white booth, like a museum, and get some good stands with some museum pieces, and make some like good like write-ups for like, oh yeah, this is such and such, and like those little plaques put together and put them in the booth, and then have lore members kind of do a little spiel about the different artifacts and what they are and where they're from, so people can come through. So well, yeah, today is been a while, bartender. So the F8 is back, hey? Yes, it's back. Let's pull this up so we can talk about this. It's back because credit card go whoosh. I hate it. All right, so this is an absolutely stupid idea. In case you missed it, welcome back, intrepid traveler. It's a new year, brimming with new adventure, new discoveries, and new opportunities. What a better way to start than the latest vehicles of the galaxy's top manufacturers. Nasty fighters armed to the teeth, industrial behemoths, scrappy salvagers, lightning-fast snubs, and unique alien conversions, just to name a few. What a better way to start the year than a sale? If you're curious about the new ships and ground vehicles released through 2023, you're in the right place. Be sure to grab them now through January 29th. The universe awaits your return. So you see all of these, right? Right here. So you have to still have the golden ticket. So you have to go find a golden ticket. But yes, you can purchase an F8C. Because credit card go whoosh. Because CAG got bills to pay. The universe awaits your credit card with 6 months insurance. Oh yeah. This is, like, I hate this. I hate this so much. The Fury LX, the Fury MX, the Whole C, the Lynx, the SRV, the Santok Yai, the Antares, the Storm, the Storm AA, the Sulian, the Vulture, the X1, the X1 Force, the X1 Velocity, the Zeus, the Zeus, the Zeus, the Zeus Marky Mark, the A1, the Arastra, the C1, the Rambler, the Scout. Yeah. The Sulian's fine. The Sulien or whatever it's called. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sick, so my nose is not going to help it at all. So Solien. Sliolin. Siolin. Siolin? Fuck it, it's made up. My nose is entirely stuffed up, Darj. I can't pronounce anything because it's stuffed up. Sulin. Suyulin. 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 Yes. I can't read. The music's too loud. It's a made-up word for a made-up language. I'll mispronounce it as much as I want. God damn it. Oh, hey, War. Soylent, yeah. Paul, I only read when I listen to you, and you can't pronounce. What shall I do? So, yeah, it's been a while. It's been a week, y'all. Like, and this is what I mean. Like, you take a week off, and like you die. Like the internet forgets you exist. And again, to be fair, let's see. The last time I streamed was the 6th, I think. Maybe in the 4th. I think it was the 6th. Yeah, it was the 6th. we're going to go over this Squadron 42 monthly report, which got some juicy stuff in it. Yeah, we wanted to talk a little bit about that. I'm not a big fan of CIG's FOMO, and as we get closer and closer to Squadron 42's release, I'm going to be more critical of CIG's FOMO, because I can understand like we need to keep the lights on, keep this going, sort of thing. I get that, and it's I understand CIG's logic behind it, which is FOMO has helped us get us this far. It'll keep us to the carry us through to the end of the year, or carry us through to the finish line. But I also feel like this stuff is just, I wouldn't say it's like bad. It's just annoying, and I think it actually is actively harming development and actively harming their funding. Because they could easily put a lot of these ships on permanent sale because they're not limited. You know, like, why is the Hull C limited? It's not a Hull limited ship. It's just a ship. It should be available for people to purchase. It's the most common ship in the verse. Who cares? And I think there's a lot of people who would pull their credit cards out and purchase the ships when they found out about them, rather than being like, oh, by the way, you have the money now? Too bad. Wait until November when the next time, or June, the next time this ship goes on sale. It's like, I don't fucking remember those things. I think that actively hurts their own, like, sales. Currently, it's the Hull you don't see in the verse, because there's no point in having the ship in the verse. The bigger it costs, the more likely it'll make money leaving it up 24/7. Exactly. Now, I can understand Hull limited ships because CIG wants to try to keep those things limited. So things like the Javelin, the Idris, the 890 Jump, that kind of stuff. But
you can take away my spaceship. You can take away my space suit. You can even take away my space lasers. But you can never, ever take away my space game.
Captain Jotaro just resubscribed for 4 months. Heck, didn't realize this ran out. Here's to 4 and more. Keep it up, Paul.
Thank you so much for that 4 months there, Captain Jotaro. You're a very important pupper, very impressive pisser. Any pedestrian. This is your fault. The reason for drinking night. Shots and cheers and chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. Ugh. Oof.
You can take away my spaceship.
You
can take away my space
suit.
You can even take away my space lasers.
No BPUs.
But you can never,
ever
take away my space game.
Wahoo 127 just resubscribed for 28 months.
Thanks so much there, Wahoo, for that 28 months of support. You're very important, pupper, very impressive, pisser, very neat pedestrian. You rock. Shots and cheers and chat, y'all. I did just take some medicine for my nose, so it should clear up here in a bit, but I gotta imagine as a history teacher, you gotta have one of those, those that you spout for your kids too. One by what? I remember logging in to buy an Endeavor long ago, back when I was unaware of the limited ships. Law of the West helped me learn and navigate that system. It's so stupid. Like, the problem, like, I'm going to rant for a bit just because it's something that's always been bothered me, is that I think CIG's system is far more complicated than it needs to be. And as a result, it tends to confuse and dissuade people from playing the game and getting the game. Because fundamentally, people, they set themselves up to make it easy for clickbait articles to be written about them. Like, people will like absolutely dump on Star Citizen for making $100 million or $600 million, but then can be completely unaware that like Call of Duty makes $1 billion a month. Call of Duty Warzone makes $1 billion a month. It's like, what? Star Citizen is a scam. Yeah, and Call of Duty is, you know, for selling ships. It's like, yeah, but every free-to-play game does it like 4,000 times worse. And there's not really an excuse.
Take away my space lasers. But you can never,
ever
take away my space game.
Oh, the subscriber blurb? Yeah, kind of.
The first tasty just resubscribed for 33 months for the low.
Thank you so much for that. 33 months of support there, first tasty. You're a very important pupper, very impressive, a rainy pedestrian. You rock. Shots and cheers to Jay, y'all. Shots and cheers. Woo. You're very confused. It's so hard to kind of get anything done in the in the site. It's because they make it super intentional, like it's almost intentionally confusing. Now, the question is, how could they improve it? The way that they can improve it is by not selling ships. Basically, everything needs to be a gameplay package. Just that's it. That's what they're going to do in the future anyways. But also, I don't know. The problem when it comes to their store is here. Let's take a look real quick. Okay. So we look at the store here. This is what it looks like. At the very top, you have nothing but paints. I'm not logged in, and I'm seeing like this. What is this? I get to buy gear. Okay. It's discounted apparently. And then at the top, I actually see gameplay packages. Then ships, then merch, plus extras, subscribing. Like, the problem is if you go to the website, this is the first thing you see, and you're like, okay, what do I do? How do I buy the game? I want to buy this game. How do I buy it? You don't see it. Up here to the right, in this very small corner, is where you actually see Pledge Store. And then if you click, but Pledge Store doesn't tell me anything. That could just be a merch store. There's nothing in here that says, buy me here. Right? I have to go all the way down to the bottom to say about the game. Right? Now I can actually just like kind of read through it. Okay. But I don't want to purchase the game. Where's the game? Play now. Okay. Now I'm finally here. But that looked like a video. Like that was a video. That's why I saw like the video playing. It said play now. I assumed that was what it was. Not buy a fucking game now. Like, and this is far too complicated just to buy the game. In a world where Steam exists, this is far more inconvenient than it should be. Rid of the play now under the landing graphic? Where? It's on the main page? Where? Show it to me. Oh, right here. This right here. But why is it there? Why is it play now and not get the game? You know, and I can also see people could be confused for like a video. Like, it's a tiny little button in the bottom right of the landing page. I don't have an account made. Why isn't it not prompting me to do those things? Because they're not getting a game, it's probably some verbal loophole. No. It's a game. As for all legal purposes, it's a game. You're not paying taxes on donations. It's a game. I can't imagine that this is a legal decision to call it Play Now. It's a marketing decision, and it's poorly designed. Should be a label get started. When I log in, if I'm here and I don't have an account, this entire screen should be telling me how to make an account or what the game is. I shouldn't be able to get to this homepage without logging into my account in the first place. Would it be annoying? Yes. And yeah, CIG probably needs to make it so this button works, but they haven't, so.
You can take away my spaceship. You can take away my space suit. You can even take away my space lasers. But you can never, ever take away my space game.
El Prithan has subscribed.
Thank you so much for that, Liquorton, for that Twitch Prime sub. You were very important, power, very impressive, pisser. Very pedestrian. This is your fault. The reason I'm drinking that. Shots and cheers, chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. The Hyperspace Industries URL and the page is likely only targeting existing pledges. But why? Like, CIG has been pivoting towards new players since 2020. Yet their website's still new player unfriendly. It's hostile to new players. Yeah, it even says buy the game. There's definitely mentions of buying the game. The question is it a possible way to get past Best in Show skin? No. Unfortunately, no. The whole community's talked about it ad nauseum, but nothing changes. And that's the problem, is that it's not a priority. And this is something you if you've been around this game and this company as long as I have, you learn pretty quickly that CIG doesn't have bandwidth, which may be an excuse, but it's how they go. They do not have the resources to do everything they want to do. So instead of doing everything they want to do, they pick 6 things they want to do, each team wants to do, and they get that done every year. Sometimes, if they're ambitious, some teams will go do more, but it feels like it's between, 4 and 8 things are done every year. Which is why the game often feels very empty, because a lot of the stuff that would make the game feel more full, like more missions, better NPC interactions, all that stuff is like not possible. Like they put the same amount of work into like designing hair, which to be fair is difficult, as it is to like create a new UI interface. So like the website is so not even a thing that they give a shit about that it's not even, it doesn't even matter. Like there's just no one there to work on the website because all of their efforts are put towards the sales and the landing pages for the various like events and such like that. And so it feels very much, and this is one of the reasons why it comes across as CIG, you're just selling things. This is a sales page, not a game. Because that's what it feels like. Because there's no effort put into into like integrating the game and the website. Turbulent is the one who works on the site. Yeah. Maybe it's going to change with Turbulent as part of this company's doing the website. They have to do something. Like, we've got Squadron 42 coming out in the next probably 2 years. They're going to need to have its own separate game page because if CIG is going to try to like sell both of these things at the same time, they're insane. Like, Squadron 42 and Star Citizen have to be separate entities because they are separate games. It's one of those things that drives me crazy when someone says, when I say there needs to be a tutorial for Star Citizen and everyone goes, Squadron 42. It's like, no, Squadron 42 is not a fucking tutorial for an MMO. That's a stupid design choice. Part of my ignorance with the story is listing things like Cutter Scout ICMYMI. What the fuck is ICIMYMI? In case you missed it. It's an abbreviation for in case you missed it. It's the worst name for a sale. I'm sorry, CIG. CIG is worse at naming things than Games Workshop is, and that's a fucking statement. Because Games Workshop is terrible at naming things. And they invent, like, they come up with random words for naming things, and there's the universes. But they're worse. Because at least, like, there's not four things with the exact same name. Pseudo-Latin is fine. It's more the Land Raider by Arkan Land, which has spawned the joke of the Emperor's real name is Jimmy Space for his Space Marines. They have gotten better with some of the ship names. Like Arastra is a good, interesting name. The Rambler was a good name, but The Expanse is terrible. Now, I think the problem that we have with the website is that there's a lot of tools that have been developed for this website that are probably bespoke for this website that they'd have to redevelop again, brand new, like the community page, which would be great if they actually, you know, utilize the community page, which they don't do. Besides the fact that the community page is also hard to navigate and terrible in terms of login. Like, there's just a lot of problems that CIG has with a lot of the stuff. And I know this is all goes back years, but it comes back down to CIG goes, we only have 15 people to do this, and we could put some of those 15 people to do, you know, to fix the website, or we could sell a new ship. Have 3 of them put together a web page for a new ship, and 3 of them put another web page for a new ship, and 3 of them do like an event page, and, you know, actually kind of get stuff done that gets them money. And as a result, the tech debt on the fucking website is beyond belief. Leave the website, put more resources in Star Citizen game, to be honest. They already do that. The problem becomes, though, is that the website itself should be mostly focused on getting people the game. But when it's actively hostile, it's actively confusing and hostile to buy Star Citizen as a game, that's when you fucked up. No new ship pump up, the capitals already. The capitals don't make any sense because they don't have server meshing or resource gameplay. There's just no purpose for them. They also fucked up by selling 6 months insurance. No, that's just the 6 months insurance is just a penalty for you jumping on late to the to the overpowered bandwagon that they're about to nerf in March. Like, you can quote me on this one. CIG will homogenize the oh gosh, what is it called? The master mode systems that they're testing right now. They're testing like the categories, the ship styles. I don't know what they're called. The ship, not brands. They're archetypes. Thank you. The archetypes of the like light fighter, you know, light interceptor, medium fighter, those sorts of heavy fighter, that kind of stuff. Those archetypes. They're going to homogenize those archetypes, and the Vanguard and the F8 will fly the exact same. %100%. They're going to do that in March, and it's going to fuck up everyone who purchased it. I'm mad because they sold this F8C, quite frankly. And a lot of people pointed out, well, they already crossed that bridge when they gave it for free to people who spent too much money on the game. And my thought is, I mean, that was kind of like a gift, and it's like, it's not really something that you get. It's not something you can, like, you go out and do. Like, no one was going out and buying $10,000 or $15,000 in this game just for an F8C, because everyone knew you could just get the F8C in game, you know, when you played Squad 42. But the second they started selling it for like, hey, $300, give it to me, it was just like, come on, really? That's stupid. But it's basically opened the gates. So I joke that you know, we're going to see the Bengal carrier on sale, but it's not a joke. I think if CIG could figure out how to sell it in a way that wouldn't like cause their own teams to quit, they'd do it. There's nothing sacred. Like, CIG would sell their own souls to get enough money to keep the lights on. They're a company at the end of the day. Their job is to make as much money as possible so they can stay open and make the game they want to make. That's it. So they'll do anything, and there is no moral limits. Well, there might be some moral limits, but it's up to the board to decide what that moral limits are. Yeah, he's a shinobi. Yeah, like I think I also think that a lot of people put like things CIG, like Chris Roberts and CIG are like rubbing their hands together, being like, yes, we're going to make billions of dollars. It's like, no, CIG is just absolutely paranoid. They're paranoid about making sure that they can keep the lights on, and they are responsible for a lot of people now. They're responsible for a lot of like developers who they're paying salaries for. They're getting their health insurance. That's a lot of stuff. And from what I've gathered from people who work at CIG, they seem to take that very seriously. Like they very much are a developer focused sort of company. They want to make sure that the developers are being treated well because they want to keep them on board, but also because it's run by a developer. You know, Chris Roberts is a coder. He does actually work on the game and has in the past. He's not just some suit in a boardroom. And so he comes with that perspective. All of the people who are like the higher management were like developers and have touched code before. So it's one of those, like, that's the perspective. And I think that's a problem. Like, that can be a problem. This hyper survival instinct is a problem because it makes them come across as if they're EA. So, like, people go, Star Citizen's a scam. Why? Because they sell $47,000 worth of ships. And people look at that and freak out and then forget that, like, Activision is selling, like, $25 for garbage for Warzone. And people are buying it in such high quantities that they're making billions of dollars in single months. I mean, if they were so worried about it, did they really have to build, decorate, and furnish a studio in such a lavish manner? Mayhem, have you ever worked in a cubicle? Have you ever worked in a place that's just four walls and you're, gray walls of a cubicle and four walls with maybe a couple of windows? I'm serious. Like, if you ever worked in those positions, it's fucking soul-sucking. No one wants to work in those places because they're soul-destroying. They're efficient. They don't cost a lot of money, but they ruin you as a person. So yeah, they did have to spend money on those lavish buildings with decorations because human beings are human. You're implied it, my dude.
Womblisimo just had a space baby.
Thank you so much there, Womblisimo, for that 9 months of support. You're a very important pupper, very impressive of any pedestrian. Sorry, I'm getting on a rant there. But, like, I know what you're saying. You're saying CIG spent all of this money for fruitless, useless things, which is like, what I'm saying is it's not useless, it's morale boosting. It literally adds character to a building. And that character builds morale. It gives a sense of identity and purpose. You go into work, you see the cool thing, you recognize it, you click on, that's why it's there. Every game studio does. Every fucking development studio does. Like Google has shit like that in their front offices. Apple does at their campuses. Every major studio and any studio, even kind of minor indie development studios, have those sorts of things because it is essential to identify. That's why. So, like, literally, yeah, they did spend that money for the developers to help the developers out. Yeah, I saw. Fishy, I saw. They added the golden tickets to the tables again. I'm not trying to jump down your throat, Mayhem. It's just more of a, like, I get what you're saying, and I've heard that sort of argument before, but I think a lot of people remove the human element from those sorts of decisions. It's like, they make those decisions for the sake of developers. I don't know what Havoc's video is. That's entirely speculative, Mayhem. That's subjective, not objective. That they could still have done the same thing with a lesser cost and still be effective. Entirely subjective. Did you see the costs? There was a roundabout figure in the financial report. Yeah. The other advantage of those sort of things is you do it once and you're done. you don't do it again. But this is the same kind of like hand wringing about, like, if you remember, do you remember the those of you who are old like me, do you remember when people lost their absolute fucking mind about the door in LA that looks like a constellation door? Like, it's painted to look like a constellation door, and everyone's like, this is such a waste of my money, and I want you to make the video game, not this fucking bull. It's made out of plywood and it was painted in a day. Like, listen, like a lot of things in the world, age and old are not necessarily the same thing. Those of us who've been around in the development of Star Citizen for a long time can be relatively young, but still old. Like, I don't think CIG is going bankrupt because they put a statue in their lobby. Like, that sort of thing. I don't think CIG is being hyper aggressive for sales because they're putting a statue in their lobby. Most of the stuff that kind of has high costs for CIG is the people. Most of it. Even if you look at the financials, like salaries for the people who are working there is by far and away the highest cost that CIG has. And that's always been the case. That is business 101. Your people are going to be your biggest expense. It's one of the reasons why, if you look at tech industry today, and look at Twitch, for instance, just fired like, what, 3,000 people? They fire people right before Q1 is done so they can look like they're saving money and they've actually made a profit, because they can fire people before they have to pay them, and then they have whatever they would have paid them add to the profit, and now it looks like they have the end of Q4 into Q1 with a higher payout so that the shareholders get happier. It's shitty. It's a fucking it's a shitty tactic, and it's done all the time, but that's the reality. I'm just concerned with, I guess what I'm concerned with that is seeing Firefall happen again. How Mark Kearns fumbled so much cash on things like a Firefall bus, if you're around for that game, that is. I know what you're talking about, but I don't think CIG is that sort of quick spendy. CIG, generally speaking, doesn't even go to conventions anymore. They went to, what was the one, DreamHack, but they weren't going to DreamHack. It was DreamHack. They partnered with, I think, Intel for that booth. No, but far and away, their biggest expense is people, and will always be their people. I don't think we'll see him at conventions. I think we'll see him at conventions after they announce the release date of Squadron, whenever that is. Go ahead and do it, Fat. It's cool. Thank you. No problem. It happens sometimes where if you don't hang out in the channel for a certain amount of time, Twitch will sometimes just kick you out. So, all right, I'll be right back. Oh. Oh, I didn't turn it on? Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about that. I turned it off when I was recording the monthly reports before I went off on my trip, so. Oof. Hey, Paul, I'm glad you're back. Enjoy your talks and your lore. Stay awesome. Thank you, Meet Your Maker. Gamescom is definitely one of the things they're going to go to, because it's one of the last big gaming conventions anyways. I was actually thinking about it when I stepped away. Wasn't Firefall the one that had a television show being produced alongside it? Like, that's a great example of like the folly of ideas. That was Defiance. Okay, Defiance is different. Yeah, Quantum Break as well. A lot of the attempts at multimedia franchises always fail because the idea is, it's kind of like how every cinematic universe has failed other than Marvel, because like they plan on having cinematic universe before they have an idea of why they need a cinematic universe, because they know Marvel makes them money and makes a lot of money, so they're like, we'll do the same thing that Marvel does, and they just throw that word around because they can, without actually understanding what's going on. It's like how every MMO has failed after, like, so many failed MMOs exist after WoW, because people just saw the word MMO and billions of dollars and immediately like dollar signs happened in their eyes. It's the same kind of thing. Yeah, they mimic what Marvel does without looking at why they do that. Yeah. There's also the studio that did Kingdom of Amalur. That's a great story about the former Red Sox pitcher who wanted to make an MMO and failed. Now, I played Firefall. I remember playing Firefall, where you could, like, third person, you could jump around in boots vertically, and yeah. I remember jumping around in like giant jungles or something like that. Well, do you actually have discussions with your students? You seem like my teachers were. Engaged. My son finished high school a couple of years ago. Teachers didn't seem so engaged. It depends. It depends on where you are. I try to have discussions with my students more frequently. Question: I upgraded the wrong ship. Can I change which ship I upgrade if I haven't applied the upgrade yet? Yes. You can melt the upgrade and then use credit to repurchase it. Oh, the pitcher who basically stole money from the state of Massachusetts? Exactly. My point is that there's a lot of there's a lot of ambitious ideas from people who often don't either have experience or luck on their side. And for somehow, CIG has lucked out massively in everything they did. They've made a lot of mistakes, which probably cost them a lot of money. But generally speaking, they seem to have come out on top. The Tempest in a teapot, fire in a bottle, yeah. No, it's not the insult. We're just starting. We've only been around for about an hour. It's going to be a shorter stream because I'm sick. So. But yes, so Star Citizen, going forward, it's going to be interesting to see what's going on, because I think, I said this before, but I think this year is going to be fairly good for players, but I also think CIG is going to struggle. I think CIG is going to struggle with the integration of the replication layer. We may see it next month, probably not until 3.23. They said they want to do it in 3.22, but I don't think so. I think CIG is such a push forward, move ahead sort of mentality. I think it'll end up being in a preview channel until they can get it really working, and we might see it in 3.2, 3.1 sort of thing, you know, sometime before, sometime after the Q1 patch, but before the Q2 patch, because the Q2 patch is the big one for the sale. So hope you get better, get trust. I will. It helps that this week is suddenly become less busy, because I forgot that the Game Rally's happening on Saturday. I don't know exactly why, but I'm really looking forward to freight elevators. That's because freight elevators, at their core, completely break the game. There's an entirely, like, there's an entire, like, it'll upend how the game plays entirely. Just that alone. Let's say evolve the game. No, let's be honest. It'll break the game. Because they'll figure out, hey, because it's fairly easy for them to implement, but there are so many pieces to this game that CIG sometimes just forgets exist, that they have to kind of go in and fix it afterwards, because they're like, oh, right, this is going to touch that. So, like, for those who don't know what I'm saying, freight elevators, as you've probably already seen, is how you're going to interact with all of your material going forward. So instead of pulling up your inventory screen and taking your inventory out and putting it into the station's inventory, you have to buy a box, one to whatever SCU box. You have to go to that box. You have to take your inventory off of yourself or out of your inventory and put it into the box, and then put that box in a freight elevator, and then lower that freight elevator down to store the freight elevator. Store the information, all that stuff. And then when you want to get it back, you have to call it back up, go and retrieve that storage. Because they want to force the players to be more focused on hangars than they want to be focused on just kind of anywhere else. And if that sounds like it's going to make the gameplay worse, it will. It's going to make it a lot more inconvenient to do anything in Star Citizen, but that's kind of the point. Because while it will make things more inconvenient, it'll also make things a little bit easier for loading and offloading of cargo for cargo missions, because you're going to have cargo missions for this sort of thing. So when you buy cargo, you have to kind of go retrieve it and then load it and unload it. It allows them to do sleight of hand movement where like the cargo elevator goes down and then disappears and then gets stored somewhere, but it's all kind of immersive and stuff like that. So now the problem about that is that that's great because it's kind of pushing cargo gameplay beyond the basic implementation we have now towards its more final implementation. But it's also going to break things. Like, you now have to deal with that same situation with the hull C. Or if you're buying or selling anything at an outpost, they need to have some system for you to call it up. So you're going to need a freight elevator at an outpost. How the fuck are you going to do that? There's no like magical disappearing side. So you're either going to have to make a brand new building that works like a freight elevator or some other thing like a warehouse that you can go into and pull things out of. And one of the reasons, in my opinion, one of the reasons why CIG created or sort of kind of evolved what they're calling the distribution centers is because those are going to replace outposts. So outposts might have light cargo you can buy in some small building, but most of the places you'd actually buy and sell at outposts will just be distribution centers because they can actually use those sorts of that sleight of hand mechanics. So. Not gonna lie, I'm getting tired of UGS for everything, as if humans were cave dwellers. I mean, it just works for what CIG wants. I'm looking forward to it because for once the trading profession will be more than just click button travel, click button question mark profit. Yeah. Space Monkey, all right. Yeah. Yes. Cool. Can't see me. Hey, Louis. Stanley, yeah. It's 40 ounces. My wife got it for me for Christmas. She joked about getting me a Stanley. She's like, you get a Stanley, get a Stanley. I'm going to get you a Stanley. I'm like, fine, just get me a Stanley. And so she got me a Stanley for Christmas. Are freight elevators to come with 3.23? 3.23? Probably. That's my guess. There's no confirmation for it at all. But my guess is 3.23 is going to be a couple of things. One, it's going to be the introduction of Boids and creatures, because if you didn't see the last monthly report, dear God, CIG, like every other team, is working on creatures. So like fauna seems to be a massive push for CIG right now, out of seemingly nowhere. Some of it is a lot of these fauna are in Squadron, so they moved them over, but the Boids I don't think are in Squadron yet, but they did talk about the Boids entering kind of a final state. So Boids. Hey, new to the AstroPub and excited to catch you live finally. Thank you, Endowment. No, his name is Paul. My name is Paul. It's fine as long as the scary Sasquatches don't T-pose. They're going to T-pose. They're not going to T-pose. They're going to A-pose and get stuck on top of trees. We know this is going to happen. I just want to know if the four-legged predator can hunt us or be hunted or tamed. I think it's designed as a generic predator species. Because it's in Squadron, my guess is that it's something they haven't talked to us about. It might be the crotch dog. For those of you who don't know, the crotch dog is an infamous. It's up there with the crotch spider. It's an infamous creature that was designed on stream. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, it sounds a lot worse than it is. Basically, when the modelers were making the creature, they had it zoomed in super finite. They had spawned a human figure for reference, and they had zoomed in, like they'd scroll wheeled in really, really far and spawned in this like basic shape that they were going to use. And then they started scrolling back to increase the size. And as they increased the size, they realized that they had spawned the creature in 0, which was the same place where the human was. And it was spawning literally in the crotch of the human figure. So the human figure was posing. Like a giant like dog looked like it was just growing out of its crotch. And before that, there was a spider that did the same thing. So, and they did this live on stream, so it was caught, and everyone lost their shit. Even the people on stream were losing their mind about it. It happened with the spider, and then it happened again with the dog. It's kind of like a oof. Hey, Bog, how you doing? So I have a theory it's the crotch dog. Whatever that dog's going to end up being named, it's going to always be the crotch dog to me. I have a feeling that it's some sort of a seed species predator kind of thing.
You can even take away my space lasers. But you can never,
ever
take away my space game.
UNKN0WN God 1 and just resubscribed for 26 months.
Thank you so much there, Unknown Guardian, for that 26 months of support. You were very important, Pupper. Very impressive pisser of any pedestrian. You rock. Shots and cheers in chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. Giant striders that loiter around in Microtech Forest, especially at night, could scare the crap out of most players. I'd love to see spiders that live in caves and come out at night into like Microtech's forests. Those would be cool. But yeah, almost certainly the four-legged predator is probably going to be the whatever the crotch dog became, and is likely a species, a predator species that is dropped on planets during its terraformation phase to act as a culling animal that will cull prey species, because you need to have a balance of predator and prey and different types of flora. And just so y'all know, so you're not super disappointed, like, I think 4 planets in the Star Citizen universe are naturally habitable and had naturally occurring creatures, one of which is Crusader, for reference, which is why what is it called? The storm walls are from. So narwhals, yeah, storm walls. So yeah, we're basically going to get something that's you're going to see everywhere. So whatever this four-legged creature is, it's almost certainly a four-legged predator. Is almost certainly going to be a generic predator species that'll be on Hurston. It'll be on the planets of Pyro, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'll pull up the crotch dog. It's funny.
So
So here's the crotch spider.
if we bring him in here, see how big he is right now. He's real big.
Oh, God.
That's unfortunate. That's a real unfortunate positioning of the import.
Of course.
You're
right?
watching the
Only when
last
you're
broadcast of Disco Lando. I've
crying.
enjoyed working for you for these last 2 years.
Yeah.
I,
All right.
Copy of that.
Oh.
I hope you'll speak fondly of me when I'm gone.
Oh, man.
You know what? Sometimes that's what happens when you're working in 3D in games. You don't really know, but
Trying to find the crotch dog, because it happened with the spider, and then it happened again with the I saw there's an image of it, but it's not. There's no video of it, which is weird. From 7 years ago. It's not a really good shot at it, but this is what we got. It looks inappropriate, but it's a dog. I swear, Switch, it's YouTube, it's a tog. Yeah. It's just a giant mistake. Well, the theory is they're Van Duel, but I think they're not going to be Van Duel. I think they're going to be more generic. I think the original idea was to have them be Van Duel, but yeah. Sorry, trying to get the last little bit of water out. Let's become a Wile E. Coyote. Let me try this again. Star Citizen Van Duel. The Star Citizen. Oh. Problem is, you say Star Citizen dog, it's all about dog fighting. Or double dog. I can't find any images of it, but... Try Josh Herman. I think it was 7 years ago. I'm not finding it. Six years ago.
I'll start something,
There it is.
and then I'll kind of adjust it and change it from there. So that works through like all of the, actually a lot of the designs that we do, even for the in the game where it'll, you know, which actually isn't terrible, right? We could play with. It gives me more of a blank canvas to kind of start from. So I think that's what I'm going to do is I'm just going to erase some of these existing features while we, you know, get some of the votes in and figure out more of the direction.
I'm by no means an expert on.
Little thing, I don't remember what they're called, but they're like a little.
Sugar gliders.
Sugar glide. Yeah, that's a good question. We should ask him how big it is. About the size as your player character, right? But on all fours. So just think of it like that.
So they're just a little bigger. That's terrifying.
Yeah, it is, right?
What? Oh, come here.
I saw a wild Sean
Chicken.
approaches.
What?
What?
Oh, chicken.
No, shut.
Let's see how we do. All right. We'll just append. There's not one there. We
Here it
used
comes.
this guy last
Hold
time.
on.
Should we use him again? Sure. Why not, right? Here he is. Here he is. Oh, no. Oh,
It did it
no.
again.
This is just, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say.
It did it again.
And that was a request. I don't even, that's such a weird request to ask for.
I can't.
It's just, so I think we said he was going to be about, did we say medium? I think we said medium.
Yes, medium.
Medium's perfect. Great.
That's bad.
Everyone.
That would look bad. Okay.
I don't know what I expected.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you expected either.
So, yeah.
Maybe somewhere around here.
Ooh,
All right.
There you go. That gives you a good kind of idea of what the four-legged creature is. That's almost certainly what the four-legged creature is. I did the monthly report for Star Citizen, not live. I did it pre-recorded. It should be up on YouTube already. So if you missed it there, Drycon, go check it out there. And then I did and it's titled like Creatures Are Coming because like most of it is creatures. This was mentioned multiple times. It was nuts. So. It's about a largest dog, yeah. Please post that link? Sure. So almost certainly we're going to see those sorts of things in probably within the first 6 months. I would say we might see them in March. I think we'll definitely see Boyd's because of the status of them being basically done. Let me pull it directly so I can tell you exactly what it said from the monthly report. It was said in the past where like I thought it said something and I was like, oh, nope, no, I'm fucking wrong. So hopefully this isn't the case. I don't think it is because it was like pretty blatant. I was like, wow, that's fairly blatant, CIG. Okay. It says specifically, for Boyd's, they're close to finalizing the first iteration that will allow the designers to place fish, rodents, and birds in the environment. So that tells me the first Boyd's will come into the game soon. Question, did CIG ever said how big they want the Boreal Stalker to be? They have scaled somewhere. I don't think they had a scale like they showed off the scale for the whip crab, but it's pretty big. Ooh. Yeah, but a lot of this report specifically is from November and December. So if they finished off the first version of Boyd's in December, it's really just a matter of it getting signed off before it ends up in the game. My guess is we'll see like seagulls, rats, and like cockroaches or something like that. Little scurry around. Wasn't the pyro crab like? Yeah, it's 20 feet tall. It's called the whip crab, but they actually have a straight up comparison. So based off of this, the height of a human is about 6 feet. So if we take this and compare this height to this creature as it stands, assuming it's standing next to him, because that's usually why you have that, then this creature is 2 stories tall, about 20 feet tall. About Sulian sized, yeah. They also disguise themselves as rocks. However, these boys should have been done long ago. Yeah, it's the one thing that is a little weird about it is you'd expect Boyd's to be in Squadron, you know, in some way, shape, or form. But it seems like the Boyd's were only now getting worked on. I mean, they've been worked on off and on for a while. We've actually seen updates on ISCs before. I think we'll see some more about that coming in, but Caliber would one need to punch through the shell? My guess is that creatures like the Boreal Stalker and the Whip Crab will be like the things that allow for players to use ground vehicles more effectively and for ground strikes with like ships to matter. I don't expect this sort of stuff to happen in anytime soon. Like I expect a lot of this stuff to end up coming into the game after they've changed the flight mechanics, like the aerodynamic stuff. So oh yes, railgun hunting. Yeah. But yeah, that's something that you would attack with like a cyclone or a storm or a nova. You know, it's not something you're gonna hit with a P4 and do any damage. Yeah, because the thing about that creature, for those of you who don't know, that creature is, last we heard, resident of the Pyro system. They live in hives and are controlled by queens. So they're called crabs, but they're more like ants or bees. So, yeah, a lot everywhere. It's the kind of creature that would justify an A1. So we have no lore behind it, but my guess is that the pyro crabs themselves are probably not a pyro crab, because that was the original just kind of working title they are. They're called the whip crab now. And the whip crab, I think, is likely a creature that is very small. Like the queens are very small and cute and or very invasive and can get into ships. And so once they leave a ship, they get in a ship, they'll find a suitable habitat and escape, and then become an invasive species wherever they go. So it's because I can see this as a common sort of creature that might show up on planets that are newly terraformed, that hide in caves or control an area and become an invasive problem where players are going to have to deal with these sort of things just arriving in their bases, and now you have to deal with this infestation that's around everywhere. Sounds like we can cosplay as Starship Troopers. Yeah, that's exactly the kind of inspiration behind it. But I think we're going to do the same thing. The same thing's going to happen with those four-legged, like, predators. I think they're not necessarily going to be threats, but they'll, like, be cave dwellers. So there'll be a reason when you go into caves, or a danger that when you go into caves to do something, or they'll control a region. The problem is that everything I just described isn't possible as the game is right now. It requires server meshing. It won't exist without server meshing. But once CIG has figured out how to do server meshing and get that implemented, that's almost certainly one of the first things they're going to do, because that adds a lot more variety to the gameplay in terms of things to do on the ground rather than just, you know, shoot each other. And quantum, in my opinion, yeah. But 100% that dog species was built for Squadron. They mentioned it multiple times in previous Squadron videos. Plus also an actual dog. So. Apparently the crotch spider is a flying spider. So, you know, CIG wants to build as many kind of unique creatures as possible, and they're definitely working on a bunch of stuff, so. I bet Pirates and Odin use dogs for dogfighting pits. They might use them for, like, guard dogs as well. Or they might, like, lurk on the outskirts of the pirate abodes or in dark caves and stuff. Have you seen how huge the Coda pistol fires 50 caliber rounds? The Coda is chambered for 50 caliber rifle rounds. It is the most stupid weapon that has ever been made. It is a revolver that fires 50 caliber rifle rounds. Shit would break your hand if you tried to fire that thing. But the Coda makes sense as the reason why it fires such ridiculously big guns, because all Castak arms weapons are designed to take out Vanduul. And remember, Vanduul are naturally like 8-foot tall armored killing machines that can survive in the vacuum of space. So anything that would not bring down an elephant in a single shot is not gonna fucking stop a Vanduul. It's not pistol round. If you look at the model, it is huge. The chamber of it is not chambered for a pistol round. Who needs a 50 caliber Vanduul? Just send in Senator Strong. His fists are 50 caliber. It is massive. It is ridiculously big. Hey, Galactic Elf. Hey, Nick, how you doing? Yeah, those might be pistol rounds. Here's the actual picture of the rounds it fires. Those are pretty fat and pretty long for pistol, though. Been good, baldering the gates and been breaking the game with my dirge murder, everything and everyone and everything I can play through. Nice. Those are hollow points too. This weapon is bonkers. It makes no fucking sense. That's why I love it. Yeah, that's probably right. It's pretty, like... The size is pretty comparable. The Coda pistol the Coda rounds might be a little smaller. AE. I'm looking at some of the comparisons here. I think it's bigger than AE. It's probably closer to a 500 Smith & Wesson. Though it does look like it's modeled off of the AE round. What I found, this does look like what it's modeled after. Look at that compared to like that. It looks very similar. You can kind of see the casings and everything like that. Yeah, I see the casual right there. This one's definitely bigger. I think it's 500 Smith & Wesson. It does look like a 500 grain bullet. Yeah. But it's a fucking revolver. None of this looks like a revolver, but it's a revolver. it's some space version of a pistol round that's like probably fucking much like heavier or shit like that. I don't know. That thing is nuts. But remember, that's a sidearm. The Coda is designed specifically as a sidearm to kill an 8-foot walking tank. Imagine if you get if it had a hammer, you would never want to fast shoot this thing with a hammer. It would break your hand. I just want to cut away showing how that pistol functions. Space magic, my man. Space magic. Because it looks like what the actual weapon looks like. I'm gonna use the restroom real quickly and come back and we'll get into the stuff. But this weapon looks like they're taking some inspiration from like Mausers with the kind of the top lever. And then obviously there's some deagle. A lot of this looks like like Desert Eagle. What would make more sense to me is if this isn't a 500, if this is a caseless. If this was caseless, it would make sense. So like that's not grain. That's just a fucking bullet. Because caseless is one of those fancy sci-fi, bullets that actually exists in real life. The problem is there's always a heating problem with it because it overheats really badly and cooks off more. The Coda ejects empty cases though. Don't you just eject the whole like cylinder? Doesn't the whole cylinder just come out? Yeah. The cylinder comes out, not the cases. You eject the whole cylinder, yeah. It would be interesting if if I'd have to look in game to see if when you shoot it and you eject it, if you eject it, if it comes out with the like the cylinder, with the brass still inside it or not. Because if it's just empty, that would mean that these are caseless ammunition. That would actually make a lot of sense. Like that would turn the coda from being this like, what the fuck is this weapon, to being, oh, it's a space revolver. It uses caseless ammunition. The reason why you load it like that is because it's a caseless weapon, which revolvers do work as caseless. It's one of those things that would solve a lot of the heat problems. And a lot of these sorts of like the mechanisms is mostly just to deal with cooling. No, but it actually ejects cases and the cylinder is empty when it reloads, when you reload. The cylinder is empty. I don't remember seeing it ejecting cases though. I'd have to go check. And if it does, that's a disappointment on my part, because I think that could make the coda a lot cooler if it uses caseless ammunition. Instead of having ejecting the bullet, it just fires and then swap. Found a video, post it, RG, if you can, and I'll see it. With mine on the station. All right, Texas Space Navy, you can save me.
I highly recommend you keep the silencer on. It's just not the easiest thing to do. Now, something else I did in this video as well, but I think I cut it out of this video, is I did some of these runs with a silencer and some without. I did some of these runs. Something else I did in this video as well, but
there's a case.
I think I cut it out of this video. Is
disappointing. How the fuck are those cases ejecting? Like look.
Target. It's just not the easiest thing to do.
He fires it.
Thing to do. Now,
right? Okay. That the whole bullet is coming out. Look at that. That's not a case. That's the whole fucking bullet. You can see the depression right here. I think it's just bugged. I don't think anyone's noticed this before. That's not a normal brass round. This is the whole fucking bullet. Yeah, you don't need to eject a single casing from a wheel gun. It shouldn't eject like that. It should just stay in the chamber. So, my proposal to CIG, change the coda so it uses caseless ammunition. You don't have to have the crazy bullet ejection like you see right there. And because it's ejecting into your face, and you could just have space magic where it disappears. That'd be a nice, neat little trick. But also, until they physicalize the bullet and casing separately, Star Citizen is literally broken. Because that's a fucking bullet. That's just the full fucking bullet. That's not a brass case. So instead of animating like a bullet going out and a case ejecting, what we're seeing is they've animated the bullet going out and they just duplicated the bullet and turned it into an ejection. Oh. Okay. Coda. Okay. Gonna. I'm not seeing any cases come out. All right, be right back.
Good news, everyone! Barcelona! Barcelona!
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
2 words. Distress bacon.
I'm Fly. I'm Pilot.
I'm just an old-fashioned cowboy.
Everybody in his dog. Weapons free, y'all.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Cajitas wins. You have coin.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Bounty hunting is a complicated process.
I'm just an old-fashioned cowboy.
Everybody and his dog calls himself an outlaw.
I'm just an old-fashioned cowboy.
I'm Fly. I'm Pilot. Weapons free, y'all.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
I'm fly. I'm pilot.
Everybody and his dog calls himself an outlaw.
Drugs.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
I'm fly. I'm pilot.
Cajitas wares, if you have coin.
Este na mount, este na mount, este na mount, este na mount.
Drugs.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession. Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
Barcelona! Barcelona!
I'm just an
Everybody
old-fashioned
and his
cowboy.
dog calls himself an outlaw.
And I'm back. Stop it. Stop it.
Distress bacon.
I'm almost stop it. I turned it off. All right. Hyperspace, interesting. I just found a 2-hour retrospective on Spice and Wolf, and I'm like, well, I know what I'm gonna do on my lunch break tomorrow. Actually, technically, I got like a 2 hours in the morning. I gotta grade stuff for, so probably do that. Which, by the way, Treesan, the remakes come out in freaking April. So I'm happy for that. It's one of the few series that I would legitimately say, if you don't like anime, but enjoy, fantasy stories and, economics, you should read. It's a story where the entire, all of the drama comes from economics, which is nuts. I don't think there's really been very many stories that haven't been super adult, like Wolf of Wall Street, that have attempted to do drama through economics. Hyperspace. Apparently there was a game that I was looking forward to. Okay, oh, it's from Ubisoft. Hey! Hold up. That's from 3 years ago. Is it this? That's Hyperscape. No, it's Hyperscape.
I can almost guarantee you right now that you haven't heard of this upcoming game called Hyperspace yet. It's been in development for a really long time now and actually looks very exciting and full of awesome gameplay features. It doesn't have a Steam page at all, it doesn't have any official gameplay and Twitters, so all you can find are tidbits of gameplay here and there on their Twitter and Discord. This game is not official yet, but it will be very soon, as Hyperspace has a release window of 2024. For once, it's also not some kind of extraction shooter where other players will try to kill you. No, we're talking about a full-on open universe action-adventure game where you, alone or with friends and online players, take the role as a crew of a spaceship in a galaxy at war. It's basically Sea of Thieves in space, and I'm absolutely all up for it. You have your own spaceship that you need to take care of with your own crew of friends or online players at your disposal, and then you go on to explore the universe. Every single engine, weapons, and systems are all simulated, and you can walk up to the engines to repair them or replace the cannons by walking up to them and swapping them for something better that you found in the world. Entering and exiting the spaceship is completely seamless, so you can walk out on the hull and do repairs or dive straight into this.
This seems like Lethal Company meets Space Engineers, or what is it called? Pulsar.
space with your jetpack and a rocket launcher, taking on enemy ships yourself if you'd like. I've never been really a massive fan of space action games, but with this one, I just feel it is completely different because of all the gameplay features that it offers and the adventures that you can have. And this one game is also being created by a developer from DICE of Battlefield and lead game designer of A Way Out and It Takes Two. It's not a game made by some random guys, so let's get right into it without wasting time. Hyperspace is a blend between role-playing and action-adventure where several players play different roles on the bridge of a Star Trek style ship. The game world is a very old universe where civilizations have
automatically
come and
better
gone.
as a
It's
Star
filled
Citizen.
with old tales and much mystique. The heroes in-game are a remnant of an old tribe still clinging to their freedoms in the Outer Rim. The game is centered a bit around co-op, so you'll need your friends quite a lot to progress, but you can do it all alone. During an emergency or firefight, you will need to have someone flying the ship, for example, someone manning the turrets, and then 1 or 2 people will need to keep an eye on components failing, fires erupting, and keeping the ship intact. But there's complete freedom in how you want to tackle the problem. You can also leave the player's ship armed to the teeth with handheld anti-ship weapons, grappling onto the larger enemy ships and blow them up on foot. Your ship will need better engines over time, better weapons, better sensors, and armor to help you keep going and jumping further into the storyline. When hunting for components, you sometimes leave the ship and explore asteroids, mines, derelict ships, and shoot enemy AI on foot as well. So there is quite a lot of variation in your activities as a player, it is said. It's not a spaceship game, but also an FPS. To make sure they have as much variation as possible and to keep the players on their toes, the devs have created an AI sitting in the background that sometimes throws some surprises at you. It could be an asteroid shower.
So it's got a director.
Enemy ships attacking you and then going on your ship, an ambush, or a solar flare, for example. The solar flare is somewhat of a panic moment where the players have to drop whatever they are doing, get inside as quickly as possible, and move the ship into the cover of an asteroid, for example, or somewhere away from the sun for a minute or two. As the storm passes by,
all of this stuff is from their Twitter. It's basically said you won't find any official website. It's just on their Twitter.
To minimize damage. They also have lots of other fun ideas in the pipeline for events like this that could happen at any time, and they're working on a ton of stuff. They are also currently working on polishing quite a lot visually to make the game more presentable to the public when it is actually official. The solar flare is one example of that, which has been looking quite pale and boring for some time, which they plan on upgrading that and go beyond it. They are also dead focused on balancing and making the game stable so they can, as soon as humanly possible, have builds that they can share with the community and collect feedback. The best way to follow them is on their Discord channel, which I will share the link in the description. Make sure you guys like the video.
They also have a Discord. Is it sad that I can immediately see that this is definitely a former DICE dev? I can see a lot of the animation similarities and transitions and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, that's DICE. It's not Project Genesis. No, this is called. It's just definitely some. There's a lot of in here. It's very basic too. I think it's UE5 probably. Hyperspace is what it's called. I'll put this link in there. Philip Kunos. Follow him for right now. That's great, but where's your Discord? I see like, oh, we have a Discord. Where? Please link Discord. I'll link this in the chat. Thank you. This full name is Hyperspace Pirates of Eteria. Tira. My Google Foo is unmatched. Yeah, thank you. I'll go through this Discord real quick. Hyperspace. Okay, sign up for the alpha. Done. Pretty cool. We'll do the read through here in a moment. But thanks for bringing this up there. Who was it? Luna who said it? There's no. This isn't Star Citizen. This is a single player experience or co-op experience, which is narratively driven, apparently. It's not a procedural open world game. Exclusively PvE, yeah. It's like it's literally on their site. Whoa, this looks like Star Citizen. No, it's not Star Citizen. Sea of Thieves. I like that kind of stuff. I'm a big fan of these sorts of games, so. Yes. Keepsake, if you're watching, call me. If you got lore, call me. I'll fucking do it. Left 4 space, yeah. Yeah, it looks cool. Like, so like, I'm a big fan of Pulsar. Like, Pulsar was a game that I loved. I love getting people together to do it. The problem is it's so kind of jank and very limiting that it's like, you play it once, you kind of go through, you can break the game pretty easily. But a Pulsar-like experience like this with like, it looks great. It looks like the kind of thing, especially if it's made by former DICE devs. It's like, yeah, give it to me. So. A small indie symbol, yet fun co-op PvE. I love that idea, yeah. They're aiming for early access late 2024. Cool. If they got lore for it, I'd be down. I like the idea of also like a class-based system. Again, dice makes sense. Having, you know, an engineer, a pilot, a weapons expert, and maybe like a captain or something like that, and each person playing their own role on the ship, their specialties and stuff like that. So, hey, Evan. Have a good night there, Unknown Guardian. We're gonna actually do the thing, and then I'm gonna finish up because I'm my medicine's wearing off. So. All right. So if you've not done this before, I'm going to talk at the camera and not respond to chat. So if you have specific questions or comments, feel free to leave them there. But I may not. If you want me to pay attention to it, just wait until after I'm done so we can do kind of a breakdown. But yeah. Close all of these. Yes, the thing. All right, here we go. Capsule time. Hello and welcome to another Office Hours. Oh, it's a capsule. I get it. Yeah. Another Office Hours capsule where I kind of take a little small segment of my Thursday live streams at twitch.tv/TheAstroPub, youtube.com/TheAstroPubLive at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Little segments of those and put them up on YouTube for those of people who don't want to watch a 4-hour live stream. Today, we'll be talking about the Squadron 42 monthly report for November and December 2023. But I'd love to have you come join us live when we go live, like chat right here. Chat's going to lie to you and say that this is pre-recorded because that's what they are. Excuse me, I'm a little sick, so I might sound a little off. But we're going to be going over the entire monthly report. And for those of you who haven't seen these before, the way I do this is like don't break down. I read the entirety of the monthly report from beginning to end. I'll add my own little thoughts here and there because I think it's important that if you really want to kind of pay attention to how development works and what's been going on and what CIG is doing, it's important to read through the entirety of it rather than listening to a summary. There's nothing wrong with summaries, but summaries are going to rely on the actual creator who's doing the summaries to decide what's important, what's not. And in the past, I've seen creators who completely dismiss ideas which I think are pretty important. So, as always, I encourage you to read this on your own. I'll leave the link to the actual monthly report in the comments below, or in the description below for you to read. But for everybody else, sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Remember, if you do enjoy this, hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and hit that little bell icon to be notified when these released. Without any further ado, let's read for the November and December 2023 Squadron 42 monthly report. All right. AI features. Through November and December, AI features continue to develop a key combat encounter by improving locomotion and simplifying weapon firing to use the same subsumption control nodes as human AI agents. Okay. Vandal combat encounters were also iterated on, with the team fixing issues with enemies entering combat and moving into melee range. They also implemented Vandal death animation using retargeted core directional human animations, which were then further polished. The Vandal execution takedown window was improved and telegraphed correctly to ensure players have the appropriate opportunity to escape. For those of you who don't know, CIG has entire weapon animations for Vandal Melee. We've joked that Squadron 42 is the Dark Souls of space games because the Vandal combat is just going to be Dark Souls. Wouldn't be surprised if you had rolling animations, but for those of you who are wondering, why is there sliding in Star Citizen? This is why. There's definitely a lot of telegraphed animations that's going to happen to hit you with these Vando melee attacks. A range of other combat areas were worked on too, including changes to the tactical target query system, which can now spread targeting across a group, but prioritize the player. New cover tactical position query term was finished, allowing non-line of sight cover posture queries, and an issue was fixed with characters and flow graph controlled non-combat custom assignments, not going into combat after exiting the assignment. Tech debt work was done on firing validation to ensure that it was better encapsulates the new debug render improvements, while synced melee attacks were connected to the AI melee combo system, so that follow-up attacks can be data-driven. This is used in a boss encounter to drive a follow-up synced weak attack if the previous one fails. Dark Souls. Finally, for AI features, the team implemented new invulnerability system to allow AI to take damage but not go below a specific threshold. This is used to script the various damage-induced stages of a boss fight without making the character completely invulnerable. So, boss fights are a big thing in Squadron. They've mentioned it in one of the last Star Citizen lives they did of 2023. They were with the team. They said they had a big discussions about boss fights. So, I'd expect more about that in the coming months and so. AI tech. At the end of the year, AI tech progressed with features and support for release builds. For Boids, they're close to finalizing the first iteration that will allow the designers to place fish, rodents, and birds in the environment. Recent updates include rules to avoid dangerous areas or actors, transition rules that will detect weapons fired / bullets hit, and the ability to switch from idle / wandering to a fleeing rule state. The team also further iterated on killing Boid's agents and how they transitioned from animation style to ragdoll. For birds, they extended the number of wandering states. For example, besides flying, birds can also walk after a landing transition. Synchronization between the server and client is currently being worked on. That was literally in the monthly report for Star Citizen, so very similar. Effort was also put into optimizing and improving various features, including the Pathfinder algorithm, collision avoidance system, navigation system, and subsumption loading logic. For Apollo tools, AI tech continued to support the designers with additional functionality, including the ability to create PNG files from behaviors, improved readability for subsumption flow graph nodes, and improved undo/redo actions. Several existing features were polished and finalized, including NPCs utilizing trolleys, which received improved collision avoidance. This was achieved by updating the PID controller logic and how it's used for path following when NPCs are pushing trolleys. For AI using ladders, new functionality was added. For example, NPCs can now check if the ladder is available and only use it if free or another NPC is climbing in the same direction. In case the ladder is being used the opposite way, NPCs will find a free spot at the top or bottom and wait. On the ship side, AI side, the team improved and extended spline functionality. This involved allowing ships to move along a spline while staying oriented towards the target, excuse me, and moving to the beginning of a spline that's already moving. Example, a spline attached to a different ship. Towards the end of the year, AI tech started looking for a better solution to generating navigation mesh on planets, as the current implementation could be faster and has problems generating navigation mesh close to planetary poles, which is affecting some outpost locations and their associated NPCs. This is currently in progress and will update, and an update will be provided in a future report. So this is literally word for word exactly what was in the Star Citizen monthly report, and I want to use this as a highlighted example. This is an example of how much tech is shared between Squadron 42 and Star Citizen. They are effectively the same game. They use just about all of the same stuff. There's only a couple of differences, the main differences being the more narrative-driven approach of Squadron with cutscenes and such, which you don't really have in Star Citizen, though it doesn't mean that they couldn't put them in Star Citizen if CIG didn't want to. So this is an example of how much content is shared back and forth. So if you don't care about Squadron and you only care about Star Citizen, this is a good way of telling you about how quickly the stuff that was developed for Squadron should be able to be implemented in Star Citizen, because they literally share the same bedrock of information. So, animation. Animation teams worked on player skill animations such as takedowns, vaulting, mantling, and exercise, and continued developing first select animations to show off unique aspects of the game's weapons. They also continued to develop the combat AI sets, including a unique boss fight. So it seems like this is a boss fight update. The social team worked alongside level design to add life across various chapters, which was supported by the mocap team. On the facial side, the devs continue to develop facial content for the cast of characters and combat and social AI that drive the narrative. Okay. Social and boss fights. Features gameplay. Gameplay features spent time towards the end of the year looking at what's needed to implement some of their Squadron 42 features into the PU, including additional requirements not needed for the single-player campaign. Most features are moving over smoothly, though the new mobiGlass requires work supporting existing apps not found in Squadron 42. Okay, that's a good... that's definitely a sign that mobiGlass may not make it in Q1, but we'll see. The star map is currently being polished, with fixes for labels and better transitions between solar systems and mini-map views. This was adapted to work well on a 2D vehicle multifunction display screens, which will need to support multiple solar systems when Pyro comes online. There was also developments using mini-map rendering inside the star map holosphere for the new landing UI, so players can see the walls, floors, and ceilings in their ship's radar when they're coming into land. The character customizer was polished, including better rendering for the head library grid. The team also experimented with different UI for face sculpting and made other general usability improvements. They're currently looking at ways to better serialize the data and reduce size requirements. The Squad 42 front end received polish, with the saved game profiles now displaying relevant customized character and dramatically changing environment depending on progress. Okay. So, yeah, this is all November, December, but a lot of this stuff, if it's mentioned, could mean that a lot of this stuff is obviously being polished in Squadron and then pushed over. So, but landing UI is a big one. A big focus for gameplay story during November was the Fortune's Cross level, including a scene featuring an NPC talking to the player with branching dialogue. So Fortune's Cross is a station in Odin. So we've actually seen it in some of the videos before. This is quite typical of many of our scenes, apart from the fact it's taking place on a moving escalator. Whilst looking into this, we decided to take responsibility for getting the NPC to traverse all 4 escalators on the level. This was quite a technical challenge that required a lot of difficult investigation. However, with some help from design, we were able to get the character to seamlessly enter and exit all 4 escalators while they are moving. Gameplay story team. Alongside this, the team worked on a range of scenes across various chapters, including new mocap, updating poses, and fixing problems. In December, Gameplay Story made several significant updates to the scenes in Chapter 5. This involved using new mocap to improve how 2 characters meet and walk up the stairs at the start of the chapter. New mocap was also used to animate 4 characters exiting a tram before 6 get on, which was a challenge for timing and space, but works well. The team also implemented a new dialogue-heavy 3-person scene in the Shubin hangar and used additional mocap to make the key character walk to and from a meeting scene in Chapter 4. Graphics, VFX, and programming. So this is going to be a lot of technical talk, which may mean that a lot of the stuff we're going to hear is very engine heavy. So excuse me, I may not understand everything that's being said, but I'll do my best to speak it. If you do, please let me know in the comments below what is being said. At the end of 2023, the graphics team largely progressed with their longer-term tasks. For example, work continued on improving the visual quality of gas clouds through the addition of directional occlusion effect. The gas cloud system output is also being unified with the planetary cloud system so that the new cloud upscaling solution can be used by both. Global Illumination team added support for transparency via dense view Fulstrom voxel grid of low resolution probes, along with sparser zone space grid of higher resolution probes. Work is also ongoing to improve the representation of materials in the ray tracing system. Vulkan is reaching the final stages of development, with the team wrapping up the last of their rendering tech. Ongoing work is targeting reducing stutter by working on the shader/PSO compilation caching and general performance polishing before the initial release. I think we're getting Vulkan in Star Citizen 3.23. Almost certainly with that. If this is the end of last year, yeah, almost certainly March we're going to get Vulkan version 1. Planet Tech team continued wrapping up the water feature, focusing on the robustness, memory usage, and performance. Alongside this, the graphics team improved the water edge effects against both the environment and visor/camera lens. VFX programming worked towards finishing off fire hazard visuals, investigated networking support for fire hazard system, and added support for water VFX. On the tool side, the support is being added for unique IDs associated with each particle effect to allow for robust referencing and the reorganization of effects. What was that up there? It was gameplay story. Level design. So, it's important to note that level design is broken up into 3 different teams: FPS, space, and social. So when you're looking at anything about level design, there are 3 separate teams that work on it. That may have changed. They did break up into strike teams to specifically tackle each of the first couple of chapters right now. I think it's the first 3 arcs of the game. And strike teams are usually made up of one person from almost all the teams together to kind of, work on, like, together to look at stuff. And you can see that on the progress tracker. So, Level Design's social narrative team pushed with the Idris interstitials, prioritizing the medbay and corridor sections and clearing out the backlog of bugs and tasks along with other miscellaneous blockers. Chapter 1's Javelin social selection was also a key focus. Though a comparatively small section of the chapter, as the opening of the game, it's hugely important as it sets the scene for what's to come. November featured multiple reviews and several rounds of feedback, which led to the team tweaking content and adding new mocap, with the latter making significant difference in quality. In the past, mocap turnaround could be lengthy. However, thanks to the new on-site studio, content can be in-game within a matter of days. Chapter 4 was also a focus, which involves an NPC leading the player through a social area of a rundown stopover station. There was also a concerted push on Archon Station, which is the Shubin station, which has hundreds of background crew going about their daily business. This involved collaborating with the AI content team, who have been striving to make the AI in these sections as convincing as possible. A lot of social stuff. Narrative. Towards the end of a busy year on Squadron 42's development, the narrative team continued to support the editorial selects from the content shot in the summer and fall. Over the past 2 months, they worked with production to assess all tasks that are currently being assigned to narrative team to make sure they cover all known remaining work. These tasks might change based on continued development, but this process allows the team to figure out what they can jump to in 2024. The team also revised the script treatment to reflect any changes in the flow since the last version. Narrative continued to define the collectibles that will be scattered throughout the levels. Some of these are a little more involved than others, but the team synced with the design and art to understand the number and placement of these various objects. As more and more content makes its way into the game, reviews of the various levels with other teams will be important to make sure that the intended tone is coming through. The social teams have been focusing on larger social areas lately to make sure they feel populated and alive. Narrative team. Okay. Tech animation. The technical animation team spent the end of the year on deliverables for content teams across both projects. These include an outfit manager that will pull together a set of assets for any character outfit in game. This will be able to help the animation teams author specific content. Previously missing from the pipeline, physics proxy tools creation was added for an intuitive and streamlined way to create physicalized skeletons in Maya. An animation events editor was also added to keep audio linked to animations across the projects. New ADB diff tools also help the devs track and diagnose problems with complex XML format files that need historical context to be useful. A replacement for a very old toolset that validates content being exported from Maya was created. We're now in the position to add to the tests and potentially change some low-level paradigms to enable exploration of new pipeline possibilities. Technical animation scene. That sounded like gobbledygook, but maybe it means something to somebody else. Additionally, technical animation authored and fixed more head assets, refined existing pipelines, continued developing engine animation teams, systems, and ideated on additional ways to help them approach Gold Master. Lastly, VFX. In November, December, the VFX team continued to provide effects to support the variety of locations, as well as some key cinematic sequences. They also continued to fine-tune water, including underwater effects. All right. So it's very short this for these last 2 months. Mostly it seemed to be focused on social aspects, some narrative stuff, but social stuff like with level design and narrative. A lot of social stuff with gameplay story, and then the other aspects was boss play gameplay. So it's mostly social and bosses. So social bosses. Hopefully that you enjoyed that. If you did, make sure, as always, let me know in the comments below what you think about any of this, if any of my ideas, like Vulcan coming on Q1, do you think I'm crazy or not? And remember to subscribe for more content. Follow us on Twitch, and come join these folks live. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black. All right. That's really short. That's 20 minutes. I think I'm definitely using boss. The thumbnail is going to be boss battles. Well, typically these monthly reports are anywhere between 30 and 40 minutes. Sometimes they can go over an hour, and Squadron 42 has been shorter and shorter, and I think that's a lot of that is because a lot of what they're doing now is less focused on like complex building and more of fine tuning and kind of pulling out the gameplay. I know someone said earlier, it's kind of a tongue in cheek, do they have a team on and fun design gameplay? That's what they're doing right now. That's kind of what they what strike teams are designed for. They're designed to go in and figure out what's fun and what's not. Can you buy an F8C in game? No, but you can buy it for $300 on the website. You just have to find a gold ticket in game. I don't think you're wrong. I just think one should never waste an opportunity to be cinematic. With Boyd's inbound, do you think CIG modeled bird strikes? They should if they haven't. Boyd's, boss battles, and Boreal stalkers. Yeah. Well, I said creatures were incoming for the Squadron or for the Star Citizen monthly reports, so I think this will be the boss battles one. Quite honestly, I'm checking this out real quick. Boop, 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 boop. Question: when should the BMM be done? I don't think the BMM should be done until they have actual content for the BMM. You want social boss fights so I can play Doctor Who in my space game? Listen, I am 100% doing a melee only run for Squadron. Now, there's going to be some caveats for that because I'm going to have to do I'm still going to play the game like because I don't think you probably can't beat the game unless you shoot people in your ship. But all the ground interaction is going to be melee only. Honestly, if they manage everything they're talking about in these reports, there's a solid chance they'll just have about the same number of hours in Squadron 2 as Star Citizen. Fist fight the kingship, I believe in you. No, Ben and Merchantman's not in Squadron. I can tell you the ships I know for sure which are in Squadron, and of those ships, only a handful are actually flyable. We know that there is a large Xi'an freighter, so like a capital class freighter that we've seen. Not only have we seen in terms of in leaks, but also in recent videos, and we've seen the interiors of it as a derelict. And then there's the Idris, the Javelin, the F8 Lightning, the F7A, the Gladius, the Retaliator, the Bengal, and then the probably not interiors, but almost certainly like flyable ships. The Scythe, the Blade, the Scythe, the Glaive, and then the Vulper, the Cleaver, and then all of the different capital ships for the Vanduul. Good night, Adam. That's about it, though. Melee ship combat. There is melee ship combat in Squadron 42. I'll be doing everything in my power to RP Zap Brannigan. Nice, Crystal. You could talk about the Idris leak interiors. The Idris has been leaked. The interiors of the Enclave, yeah. The Idris interiors have been leaked for years now. We've known the interior of the Idris since like 2017, or since before that. Yeah, the Moro Tour, which was very basic, like kind of like what is it called? Gray box version of it. I'd love to see an updated Moro Tour. I think that would go a long way for people for like once they get the announcement out. But it was part of the leaks that was leaked by accidentally by Jared back in like 2016. Yeah, the interiors for the Idris is in game, so they're in the files. No, they only did one Moro Tour, Nick. That was the gray box one. Yeah, I don't think they never redid that one. Rewatching that tour is crazy how bad the characters look. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much bare bones, basic gray box, so. What's a Moro Tour? The Moro tour is so one of the chief engineers on the Stanton is Eugene Moro. And if you remember, there's a very early video of your character arriving on the Stanton on a Argo cargo. You're sitting in the seat, and as the Argo cargo lands, as the MPUV lands, the door opens up, and Moro steps in and goes, "Oh, hi, you must be the new pilot," and then begins to start unloading some boxes from the MPUV, and then you step out and talk with him, and he offers to give you a tour of the ship, and if you walk around, he'll tell you about the different ships and different people and that kind of stuff. Yeah, Nick's got the link, so. The Javelin has been visitable for several years now. You can see the interior of Javelin. You can't see all of the interior of the Javelin, but you can see a lot of it. To give you all context as well. So, not all find this. So not every chapter is an hour. Some of them are longer, some of them are shorter. But we know for Squadron 42 that there is a total of 28 chapters. So if every chapter is at an average an hour long to complete, that means there's 28 hours of content for Squadron 42. But we also know that there's likely more than an hour because there's also side missions for each of these chapters as well. So easily it could be longer. Yeah, that's assuming that every mission is an hour. Which is a big assumption. Because some of them could be shorter, some of them could be longer. Can you get a link in YouTube? Sure. Also including cutscenes? Oh, sure. And collectibles, yeah. You also got to remember that the general philosophy of how Squadron 42's missions work is they're focused on replayability. Basically, they want to give players different approaches to solve a problem. You have an objective, you have to get to that objective, and as long as you get to that objective and complete it, it doesn't matter how you do it. So there's going to be a lot of different gameplay styles that people can do, as well as just straight up speedrunner glitching shit. So, and useful. So, I would not be surprised if Squadron 42 is a 40-hour game. I think the non-side quest missions are probably going to be about 30 hours. So whenever I hear someone being like, Squadron 42 is a waste of time, it's a waste of money, it's garbage, it's just going to be a crappy COD campaign, I'm like, you have not done any research, like at all. Like there is far more to Squadron than just it being a fancy COD, like 6-hour COD campaign. This thing is a standalone experience which is designed to suck time away. So less Mass Effect and more KOTOR. kind of, it's Mass Effect is a good example, is a good comparison, because there will be social aspects to the game. There are branching narratives and dialogue choices and stuff like that. But it's not open world. You are a lieutenant in the UEE Navy. You know, and before that, you're a gunner in the UEE Navy. You go where they fucking tell you to go, and you complete missions that they tell you to do. As a gunner, I wouldn't be surprised if when you're playing Squadron 42 as a gunner, one of your first missions is just get in this gun and shoot things. Souls effect, I think, is a good way of putting it, because the one thing that Dark Souls really does like excel in is giving you a semi-open world where they give you a location you can go to, and you can just approach that area in many different ways, but it's crafted for you to kind of go in that way. You know, it'll feel like you evolve and move around the city like that. I think that's kind of how the areas like that. I think that's kind of how Squadron is going to be based. Is you're going to do a mission, and how you get to that mission is up to you, but they're going to really kind of control how you get to that mission. Yeah, and there's definitely going to be some Half-Life-esque puzzles. I have talked with several CIG devs about Squadron 42, and they all said the Squadron teams are going absolutely insane with puzzles. So there's lots of crazy rope puzzles they're doing, and other things like that. Like, that's the reason why the rope tech was invented in the first place. But don't come in and think that you're going to have multiple endings. There's going to be an ending to Squadron 42, and I think that ending is going to be the same ending no matter what you do, no matter what your choices are. However, I think who's around for that ending may matter. So there are probably some characters which will always live, and there are probably some characters who are going to die. Just because, narratively speaking, this is part 1 of 3 games. So grab tool a pot over an enemy AI is a valid tactic. I'm sure there is. But it does feel like a lot of the teams who are working on Squadron 42 are definitely taking the Souls-born inspirations, like in a technical approach and a gameplay feel approach, rather than being like, oh, Souls. We're just going to do Souls. Like, I don't think Squadron 42 is going to look like a Souls-born game. I don't think it's going to play like a Souls-born game, but I do think it's going to feel like a Soulsborne game, in the sense that a lot of the philosophy of how Dark Souls was designed, so Dark Souls and Soulsborne and those other games, not Elden Ring. It's a different kind of beast. A lot of that is definitely, I can definitely see that in CIG's development philosophy. It will be like Dark Souls, but with no campfires and checkpoints that will respawn enemies and be linear. Kind of. There is a checkpoint. There are campfires and checkpoints, but those are it's called your bed. That's a classic Wing Commander thing. Like, how you saved the game, how you got a checkpoint was go to your bed. So there's going to be likely they may have some other options for like save points, but I wouldn't be surprised if CIG says, no, you got to complete this mission in one go, no saving. When new ISC and SCL? Not a clue. Probably a while. We're probably talking several several weeks, I guess. Bed logging, yeah. I mean, that's literally what the beds were designed for in Star Citizen, and they're going to use the same functionality for Squadron. I don't think you'll be able to climb into the bed in the middle of a mission, and it'll be interesting to see if CIG does do save points in the middle, but I don't think so. I think CIG is going to just scream at you, get good, you know? And the old wing commanders had fail states where you could fail a mission by ejecting from your ship and the game would still progress. So you'd go on to the next mission with you having failed that mission. So it's not like you have to pass every mission. Where's the planning conference being held this year? Manchester? Probably Manchester. But over the last couple of years, they seem to have been tearing back on the whole company gets together for a big planning session. And they seem to be doing very specific teams getting together to do whatever the team is that's being focused, the big focus for this year. And we haven't heard anything about it, so. Honestly, the whole point of single player offline games is they can be paused and saved at any time. It's more life friendly. Nope, not Squadron. I can almost guarantee you. CIG, Chris Roberts doesn't like that idea. I don't know how CIG will do mega logouts for crew. The only thing I can imagine is if you call into a bed and you log out, your character will remain in that bed until the last crew member logs out. But that's not a CIG statement. That's just what I think that's probably what they're going to have to do, because that's just the logical way of doing things. Let me boot up my Dev Tracker 2000. I'll give you your roadmap. Thank you. Do you think we'll get a head start on the campaign versus the rest of the world? Maybe. Oh yeah, Jade saying, or the freighter you escorted was blown up instead of saved, so you flew back to Tiger's Crawl and got chewed out. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that's going to happen. There will be fail states for missions that will have you lose the mission and continue the campaign with you just losing that mission. Because Chris Roberts is a psycho. And you know he's going to completely drill down on that. That was the case, I think, of every single Wing Commander game had that happen. I don't think we're going to get early access compared to other players. A lot of people thought we were going to get beta access to the game. We're not getting beta access. Players are not going to get beta access to Squadron. That would ruin the title. That would ruin the whole point. I think CIG would do well to offer a free demo of the first level. So chapter 1, first demo out for everyone to play. Yeah, with the Battle of Vega. Because Diablos, you and I know how the Battle of Vega ends for your character, and that's a perfect ending for a demo. Battle of Bagpipes. That was something about really refreshing about BG3. Your choices truly mattered because you could actually fail but continue the game. Yeah. Making you sit in your failure is a powerful way of forcing your players to reflect. That's when you're still gonna, right? Yeah. I'll yeah, feel free to link it. I'll watch it later, Max, because I'm gonna call it a night. Kind of like how MGS5 did it. Yeah. Yeah, MGS5 did a demo as well before they released it, because they had the whole kind of first level, which was so. So shareware, yeah. Because I think if Squadron 42 had its first level as a demo, people would play the shit out of that demo for free. People will not only play the shit out of that demo, but they would also get a lot of generate a lot of hype. Now there is one thing that I would say probably CIG won't do it, and here's the answer: exploits. Because Squadron 42 and Star Citizen are basically the same game. If you release Squadron 42, even a portion of it, for free, anyone can get access to it, look at your information, break into your back-end engine, everything you've done to it, and see how to exploit it for free. It makes it a lot easier for you to build hacks for Star Citizen. So it may be a paid demo, or it may be a demo that's given to Star Citizen backers, or people who have played, who have backed Squadron 42. I can see ways of pay gating it to the point where it would prevent people from that sort of thing from happening while still looking like a good idea. Yeah. Well, they've already shot themselves in the foot with the free files. It's one of the reasons why they do so much work around free flights. Because that's what people were doing. People were building exploits and hacks and then using free flights to test out those hacks to see if they worked. That was what was happening. That's the reason why easy anti-cheat is in game right now. No mods confirmed for Squadron 42. I don't think CIG can stop that. It's CryEngine. So if you can modify CryEngine, you can figure it out for Squadron. With MSI AI Monitor, you won't have to build hacks and not detectable by the game. What are you talking about, Dragotalon? I'm gonna make a male booty model for you, Paul. Thank you, Radar Echo. I need to have that dead ass for the male booty. I want Squadron 42 with furries, Paul. That's gonna happen. There's enough furries at CIG that would be enjoyed, let alone in the community. Dunk, yeah. Hey, Jordan, thank you so much for becoming a member for 12 months. I just watched Squadron 42 Vertical Slice from 6 years ago with commentary. It's amazing. I wonder how much was real and how much stayed or changed. What you saw was a side mission. That was something that was real. The briefing and that kind of stuff is part of the game. But the actual mission itself is a side mission. And we actually, Agent Trejo, who you rescue at the end of that's Vertical Slice, we actually see her in the latest update video. The one where Mark Hamill, where old man Colton is like, I could have pulled this off the Galactopedia. That woman he's talking to, that's Trejo. Don't make me get out that org vid. I don't need to see that vid. I know what you're talking about. I don't need to see the squeaks. MSI made a monitor with hardware AI that highlighted stuff on screen. The new MSI AI monitor you can check out Scared Citizen video. The monitor has built-in AI. Those graphics are old too. A lot of that, Jordan, what you watched was before Squadron 42 had object container streaming. The reason why it was so poor performance was because that was before they actually had performance improvements. Like, it's nuts looking at that and now looking at what they've done recently. I don't think anyone has ever accused Chris Roberts or thought that Squadron 42 won't look good. It'll look good. And I'm sure the story is engaging because it's a Chris Roberts game and his games generally engage people. The question is more, and we know that the lore is fucking deep. The question at this point is more, is the game going to be fun? That's the hard part. You saw a comment today that said the new Squadron 42 demo was dated looking already. Oh, cope. That's a cope. That's a cope harder, my man. Oh. You have a decent amount of viewers on YouTube now? Yeah, I mean, that's pretty typical. About 50 to 60 people come to hang out for the office hours. Captain's Table can get up to 100. So. Did you know they mentioned FPS scanning before scanning was in the consistency? It gives me so much more reassurance that a lot of things were planned and stayed for the past these years. That's the thing. Hey, Hunter, how you going, buddy? You got your golden ticket today? And cried when you saw the 6 months? Yeah. No, so like Jordan, quite literally, a lot of people accuse Star Citizen and Squadron 42 of feature creep. And as said from the very beginning, Star Citizen and Squadron 42 doesn't have feature creep. It has feature bloat. All of these features and the plans have been around since the beginning. Some things have changed a little bit, but like Death of a Spaceman has always been the same. They just tweaked some things here and there, but the same basic idea behind Death of a Spaceman is the same thing. Food and drink was always planned. It's just food and drink wasn't supposed to kill you when it was first introduced. It was designed to, you're supposed to basically get down to the point where you just literally couldn't function. You blurred screen and completely fucked up, and you didn't have drink and food and water. Basically debuff rather than a death. So the only thing that is really a feature creep, which was still planned, is landable planets. Like procedurally generated, fully landable planets is the only thing that was not part of the original scope that is in the game. Excuse me. Oh. Thank you. Oh, with all the parity between the two games, would we expect to see carryover from any accomplishments? Oh yeah, for sure. For sure, we'll see some carryover. You think they'll showcase the mission again with the updated graphics? I think it'd help a lot with the public view of the game. I'd love to. I'd love them to. And I think they will when they get closer, after they announce. I'm sure they'll do some of that stuff again after they've announced the release date. No, I think I remember weather always being part of the planets. Weather is... dynamic weather wasn't, but they definitely wanted to do it once they got the the planets in. The planets, to be fair, like, and to be like very clear, procedural planets, like procedurally landing, or like basically seamless transition to planets, was part of Star Citizen. It was planned as part of Star Citizen, but it was supposed to be a post-release feature. So it was something they were going to do after they released the game. And what changed was Crytek. When Crytek imploded and like a ton of the original developers of the CryEngine got laid off or quit because they weren't getting paid, and CIG acquired those folks and opened up the Frankfurt studio, those people had working understanding of how CryEngine functioned and had built in their free time demos on procedural generation of entire cities. Those people will then went about saying, can we apply the same logic to planets? And that's where we got Pupil the Planet, which eventually led to what we have today. And that 101 billion% is the reason why Star Citizen is so fucking delayed. The reason why Squadron 42 got delayed and the reason why Star Citizen got delayed is because they implemented a fundamental shift in how the gameplay was going to happen with these landable planets. They had to create more creatures. They have to create ground vehicles. They have to create points of interest on the ground. There are so many things that they had to do, which they originally weren't planning on doing. Originally, they were going to do a cutscene between reaching a planet and landing on the planet. The landing sequence was going to be automated. You'd be taken over and you would land, very similar to Freelancer. And my camera is for somehow frozen like that. Hold on. This didn't make you look. There you go. Crytek imploded, gave employees to CIG, and then served a lawsuit that turned into a joke. Yeah. The Crytek that sued CIG was not the same Crytek that imploded. Yeah, no. There was, I think they sold they sold, like, the people who own Crytek sold their shares at that point, I think to another company or to another person. Question, creatures in the monthly report. Last time it wasn't live. I need your thoughts. It's really coming from hallucinate, or am I hallucinating? Creatures before pizza, though. Come on, man. Yeah, it is actually coming. It sounds like they're going to be implementing Boids in Q1. I don't think we're going to see all the creatures in Q1, but I do think we're going to see Boids. And then the creature that they developed for Squadron, the four-legged predator, I think that's coming in probably before Q3 next year. Another question, how much of Vega will be explorable? Probably not much. My guess is that Vega is just going to be Aramis, Vega 2, because most of that section is not you in the flight academy. So you're a gunner. So I imagine a lot of that is going to feel like on rails. Based off of what I've seen, I wouldn't be surprised if it was very similar to, say, the Pillar of Autumn mission in the first Halo, where you're on the ship the entire time. You'll be in space, you'll be around some of the asteroid belts, and you might end up on at New Corvo, the planet, because we do see a cutscene of Bishop on the ground with a bunch of Marines looking at the destruction of New Corvo. I mean, we don't know. We have no confirmation of when base building is going to be first put into the game. The only source I've seen that says anything about base building coming in next year is from a Trust Me Bro source. Which a Trust Me Bro source means they have no information. They have an anonymous someone who's anonymous who they trust, but I have no idea who the fuck they are. So I have no reason to believe they're real. I never got to play Wing Commander or Freelancer growing up, but I played Starlancer and Sega Dreamcast. That was an amazing experience. Yeah, I was going to say, I think I said this already, Freelancer. Star Citizen was supposed to be Freelancer too. So a lot of what you said with Freelancer, which is you mostly interacted in space, and then when you went to land, you would land on a planet, and you would have a cutscene where you landed on the planet, and then you could walk around those areas. Instead of the Freelancer where you kind of like got to choose where to go, the idea of Star Citizen was you'd be able to walk around the landing zone. That's the reason why they're called landing zones, because they originally were supposed to be just where you landed and you could walk around them. That's why they look weird. They weren't supposed to be cities. They're supposed to be like very curated locations. And in the cutscene, you were supposed to be able to like walk around while the ship was flying so you could see it and land and everything like that. But most of the focus was in space. And you can see a lot of the original kind of idea of Star Citizen being Freelancer 2 in 2.0 series of releases, where like the focus was heavily on like space stations and ships and those sorts of things. There was a cutscene of Delamar landing. It wasn't Delamar, it was Area 18. More like X4? Yeah, kind of like that. There was also a Delamar and a Hornet? Okay. Are they eventually going to get around to making FPS stuff work? Maybe not randomly clip in the geometries and fall through the planet. Maybe not get random CSs for existing. Yeah, eventually. I get you're frustrated, Iris. It's just status of Star Citizen right now. There's a lot of problems with those sorts of situations. And a lot of that is due to performance rather than the FPS. Like, CIG can test all of the FPS mechanics and the NPCs and locations all they want to, but the second they push it out to the live, the servers decide to just chew it up and face slam it into the dirt. So... Is there any traction on drones? Nothing that I've heard of, no. I don't know why Levski received so much hate where it used to be my favorite place. Because it was also, you know how like landing zones notoriously have been the worst performance? So like if you went to Orison, you would get like if you got like 60 FPS in space, when you went to Orison, you'd often get like 20 FPS or like 10 sometimes. Levski was that, but like worse. It was like you'd get 5 FPS or 2 FPS at Levski. And sometimes Levski, you couldn't even like work. It couldn't even call ships. So if you were in Levski and a patch released where you couldn't call your ships, you had to have someone come rescue you and pick you up and get you out of there. Yeah, it used to be called Lagski. That was its nickname, was Lagski. Yeah, and Levski was pre-OCS. Old man high five. Levski went away the same year that Orison was released. 2020, I want to say. It might have been 2018 or 2019. But it definitely was, it was removed just before Orison was put in. (2021) January 23rd, 2021. January 22nd, 2021. So it was actually pretty recently. January 22nd, 2021. Del Marlevsky are going home. Alpha 312. Bautista? Recco Battaglia? Yeah, Recco Battaglia. When do you think we'll have the Polaris? I'm thinking end of Q2. We could have it in Q2. Give us your wildest, most out of left field take of what's coming this year. Theaters of War. I loved OG Xenothreat. What's the biggest change to how players will play the game do you think we'll see this year? Probably master modes, the quantum stuff in master modes, but likely like cargo decks. I think cargo, yeah. Cargo elevators will probably be the biggest change because it's going to fundamentally change how you store equipment, retrieve equipment, get cargo, load and unload cargo. It's going to change everything about the cargo gameplay loop. And since cargo is part of everything, I think that's what you're going to see. Yeah, so like the new quantum system. So instead of having, you have the quantum boost system. And quantum now, instead of just teleporting you along a spline, you actually fly along that area. So for instance, you can't just quantum out of a asteroid field anymore. You need to go out of the asteroid field and quantum towards a location. If you like are going through, say, I don't know, the Aaron Halo, which is if you're going from the Stanton 2 to Stanton 3, you'll be stopped at the Aaron Halo. You'll automatically stop, and you have to navigate around the asteroid belt before going to from Stanton 2 to Stanton 3 or Stanton 3 to Stanton 2. That's a physical block that you'll have to deal with. Yeah, which will allow for the Aaron Halo gates and stuff like that. The minimap will be important, but I don't think that's going to change. It'll change how people play, but I think the biggest change is going to probably be the cargo deck, because that's for sure I know coming into the game this year. I think the quantum system is coming in this year. I think that the mini-map and stuff is coming in this year, but anything can happen. But because everyone uses cargo and storage, like everyone has a inventory, I think that's going to be more impactful. Like the minimap is going to be nice as a quality of life update, but I don't think everyone will have to use it. Same with kind of like the quantum stuff. The quantum, yeah, it's going to impact you how you move because everyone has to do quantum, but I don't know if it's going to change your experience that much. It's just going to slow things down. Yeah, quantum flight, not quantum sim, because CIG's bad at naming things. DJ needs to let me own a railgun and AC so I can run it as my main weapon. I'm enthused for master modes and the cargo update. Yeah. Yeah, I'm too. Okay, minimap, imagine this. You're setting a spot in space where you have your ship and stuff saved like a hidden base. Yeah, I can see that. I heard you talking about theaters of war. Is it like Battlefield Planetside? Yes. It's Battlefield, but in a Marine Commander. The original Siege of Orison was originally supposed to be a Theaters of War map. Looking forward to Star Citizen respecting my time even less than it does now. I do think it will. There's definitely going to be a compromise. Because I think while you're definitely not going to, like, inventory management is going to be more of a pain in the ass, I also think that it's going to improve the flow of gameplay. Because it's not just going to impact cargo haulers, it's going to impact everyone who's doing anything. Yeah, map marker is going to be fun. Because the other thing it's going to let you do in terms of like inventory management is it's going to let you be more specific on how you store things and how you pull things out. Like right now, it is a literal pain in the ass to pull anything or out of your personal inventory or your local inventory and pull it into the real world. Like you have a cargo crate that's like 1 SCU. You have to like pull it in and drop it out of your inventory, and it could clip through the universe and disappear forever. It could flop out and hit into you, knock you out, or kill you, bounce around your ship and do damage. Like, there's just not a good transition state. So stuff like that being added to your cargo elevator makes a lot of sense. It'll also allow for things like more specific cargo storage. So going to a specific location on your ship, the store locations, or in your hab, or in your hab you can store things, which will allow for more management, but also to make things feel more like at home. Have you noticed the usable checkerboard in game with the 890 jump mission? It's pickupable and pieces stay in position. Oh, I didn't know that. Freight elevators will only slow down gameplay if the UI and terminal sucks. It's gonna slow down gameplay no matter what, just because right now it's super easy to just take your stuff and just throw it into local inventory. You're gonna now, to access local inventory, you actually have to go down, call your freight elevator up, go to the box that you store your local inventory in, and then put everything into that. It's definitely gonna slow things down, but I do think it's going to speed some things up. Like for instance, with the with freight elevators, you're being able to call up vehicles. You can load vehicles into ships a lot easier now. So you don't have to spawn a ship, fly down to a planet, spawn a vehicle, then load that vehicle into your ship, close it, and take off. That's going to speed up. It's a give and take. There's definitely going to be things where it slows down, and then the other aspects it'll speed up or improve the quality of life. But I think in the end it'll probably balance out overall. But if they'll suck at least for 2 patches. What do you mean at least 2 patches? It's gonna suck for a year. 07, hey, dumb question. Does the F8 have better insurance options than the 6 months like last time? Or it's just the 6 months. I meant that from organizing staging perspective, it'll mostly slow down the unprepared. Yeah, it forces you to prepare, but it's going to make you do organization, make you be more organized in general. You're going to have to spend time going through your inventory, like putting a box that just has guns in it, a box that just has armor in it, and all that stuff. There's going to be preparation time where you specifically have to prepare a lot of your stuff and like go through and do inventory management and stuff like that. And that sucks, but that's what Star Citizen is. Yeah, logistics citizen. And it's not just going to be, like right now it's for personal inventory, which is going to affect everyone, and cargo, but that's going to also be for things like mining and, refining. Like you're going to have to store that and move it around, that kind of stuff, so. The gameplay in general is only going to become slower and more grindy as dev continues. A lot of people aren't going to handle that well. I don't think it's going to get more grindy. I do think it's going to get the progression is going to get slower unless you are working with other people. The CIG is going to intentionally design the game where progression is better if you work with other people. So they'll design missions to be super high payouts, but hard to do solo or impossible to do solo. So you have to have other people to help you out, or you have to hire NPCs to help you out, which costs you time and money. I hope they unlock drug use with Pyro, so they make drug use animations for it. It'd be interesting to see that. And ammo, holy smokes, the loading. Yeah, well, so the thing is they've simplified a lot of the ammo. So I think CIG is likely going to entirely drop the idea of loading magazines. Manually loading magazines, I think, is dead. That's gone. Because the new system that they do will now automatically sort magazines. So if you have a magazine that's empty, it'll automatically, or like half empty, it'll automatically fill another magazine that's half empty. So you have like magazines which will like shift around and load themselves permanently. And if they don't do it automatically, you'll be able to just drag and drop and swap them and stuff like that. But I don't think you're going to be able to, you're not going to have to like pull your box of bullets out and load it up. You'll just buy magazines for specific like ammo types. Yeah, energy ammunition should be rechargeable from your ship power plant or from a specific power charger of some kind, but yeah. Functionality for the charge stations at outposts, ground vehicle batteries. The thing is that a lot of the game is gonna change when resource management goes in. The RIC system, the resource item controller, I think is what it's called. That system is one of those fundamental kind of landmark shifts in gameplay. I don't know if it's coming in Star Citizen this year. It could. but I'm not betting on it because it's had a lot of problems in the past. But the resource system is very important because it doesn't just affect ships. It affects your armor as well. So it does things like wear and tear. Your armor is going to require power to function. Like life support is going to need power and oxygen. So you need like power to be able to, and heat as well. So you have oxygen, you have power to move your suit around and like say your flashlight and such, and you will need heat to keep yourself as life support to keep you alive. Heating or cooling. Your EVA suits will have their own fuel. So your suit that you have on now will not have infinite amounts of EVA fuel. You'll either have to have a external tank or some sort of MMU, man maneuvering unit, that you'll have to use to kind of get around. Otherwise, you're going to use the new EVA system that they've developed for Squadron, which is focused more on the old push-pull system that they've changed to it. Do you have a favorite ship, Paul, and why is it the Redeemer? Your thoughts? Shadow Girl, I swear to God. Swear to God. You won't be able to wear backpacks and seats. Yeah. But that system should also affect buildings. So outposts that you build need power sources to be able to turn on and use. So you need power, heat, cooling, and oxygen. Like those are the four things. Execute said it was a Redeemer. It must be true. Why would he lie? Because Execute lies about a lot of things. Mostly to piss me off. Do you need another Redeemer commercial before call it evening? I'm about to call it an evening anyways. But the point being is the resource system fundamentally will change how things work, because it's going to change things like how your ship turns on, how your ship functions, how your armor functions, how, vehicles function. Like vehicles will have to have some sort of power, which means they're going to have some sort of ability to charge like batteries or something like that. So like, yeah, like you think like freight elevators is going to be a pain in the ass. The resource system is going to absolutely shatter the pacing of Star Citizen. It is going to, like, all the people who complain that Star Citizen is too arcade are going to complain about how stupidly intricate the resource system is. Because it's not going to be that intricate, but it's still going to be a pain in the ass to use on top of everything else. Like, wear and tear will affect components. Those components need power or heat to function. They need to whisk heat away. This is engineering. That's what engineering gameplay is about. It's all about this management of these systems. But these systems are not just going to exclusively be for ships. They'll be for vehicles. They'll be for suits as well. Okay, one more question about it. Can you melt a ship or get it the F8 with only new money? I think you can get it store credit if you have the $300 store credits. You can melt, but don't quote me on that one. So, are they planning to allowing the game to be fun, or is this going to be star tedium? A lot of what Star Citizen is based on is group gameplay. So the idea behind a lot of these aspects is to give gameplay to other people who are doing specific roles. So, if you don't want to manage inventory, you join a group that already has somebody who does that. Someone who is as someone says, a inventory management fetishist. Hey, we're good. birthday. Happy birthday! How you doing? Thank you for that raid there, TV Liquid. Welcome everyone from TV Liquid stream. You're actually coming towards the end of my my stream because I've been streaming for too long and I'm a little sick. So I may not be able to stream on Friday as well because I might want to just, you know, rest up. You caught in another raid? Yes. So and I might send you off here shortly. But welcome. How are you doing, TV? Went from 0 to Astro through Liquid. We'll stick around for a little bit longer. We're talking about how the theme is like Star Citizen is going to undergo a lot of changes in the next year or two. A lot of those changes are going to slow down the game. The point of it is to not just slow down the game, but slow down the game for individuals, to get people to start focusing on group gameplay, to have somebody who's an engineer who likes to do those things, or someone who wants to do inventory management because they like to do inventory management, or that sort of thing. Specializations for very specific roles. We already started to see that a little bit with, you know, being a medic is a skill. Because if you don't know, if you hit auto and you press the button on the medical tool, it will kill you. It will kill whoever you're pointing at because it will overdose them and kill them. You have to know what you're using and how much and when to stop. Yeah, I'm not doing a captain's table this week because it's Daymar Rally. I forgot that it was Daymar Rally and nobody signed up and everyone's at Daymar Rally or watching it. So yeah, we're not gonna be doing captain's table. I may not do a stream tomorrow. Originally I was gonna do a pub and plays with Loken, but my voice is dying and I gotta teach tomorrow. So yeah, it is Daymar this weekend. So, but I will be on Sunday. I'll definitely be streaming on Sunday. I also need to save my voice because I got to record a video for Saturday. So we could get that out for a little cap for a freaking thing. Hey, Donnie. Honey and tea for voice. Are you back to work, Donnie? Are you still off? Part 4, yes. I need to record part 4. It's almost done. I also need to do a voice for a video that's going to release on Saturday, a Squadron 42 lore video, which is kind of an update to my old UEE Navy video. So, hey, Buster. You're back at work? Nice. Someone was asking about, like, how everything's working, and it's explaining to a lot of people that a lot of people just take this month off if they can, just because of how slow it is. Jared, no. I like it. What are you up to there, Donnie? It's you survived the coldening this last weekend. Hey, G-Sharp. I had a thinking about capital ship gameplay. Do you think that missions will eventually progress that sort of capital ships and fleets could accept getting appropriate payouts? Yeah. I mean, we were talking about it earlier. Like, one of the things that CIG seems to be setting up are... with like creatures, is building from the idea of using creatures as a resurgent or like randomized threat. The whip crab, for instance, the old pyro crab, I wouldn't be surprised if CIG kind of works in the background for the whip crab, that it's some sort of invasive species that may be not native to Pyro, but you might see every so often, and it can like evolve on like a tiny queen, like a baby queen sneaks aboard a ship as a small crab, and then the ship kind of travels to somewhere else, it escapes, and then forms a colony, produces offspring, and then suddenly you've got a swarm of 20-foot tall fucking crabs on your base, and you have to defend it and deal with those sorts of things. A lot of how have you been? How are things? I'm okay. This last weekend I was off burying my father, so that's why I wasn't here. Oh hey, what's up, Steel? Hey, how's you doing, Steelwicker? Crab battle. Yeah. So those sorts of things, I think, are great ways of like encouraging ground gameplay and using ground vehicles and defensive things, those sorts of things, and like a reason for bombing. So I think CIG is definitely capable of having capital ships being viable in terms of like you can use them for money, but I don't think you're going to be using your capital ships for daily combat kind of thing, or daily sort of missions. Capital ships are either going to be used by organizations for like regional control, or for groups that are doing like what would effectively be like raids in a typical MMO. Thank you, Braggs. Yeah, it could be bounty style. It could be mercenary style, where you're told to hunt down. There's a pirate outpost somewhere there, or there's a pirate Idris in this region that's supported by a small fleet. Go take it out. You know. Caller, thanks for hanging out. Hey, you're going to Canada? Enjoy it. With Idris being in the cusp of being completed, should they update the stolen Idris? They should update stolen Idris already in Stanton. They should let us infiltrate it soon. They're not going to do it until Squadron's in, but the Squadron's out, which is a while. Not going there, just never been there, and that's exhausting. Ooh. All right, y'all. Thank you for hanging out, but I need to go to sleep. So, I will be seeing you all maybe tomorrow, most likely Sunday. There will be the monthly report for Squadron 42 that I just recorded. That'll be released probably tomorrow or Saturday. There's a bunch of other videos that I'm releasing that are kind of highlights from office hours for various things that Uri's put together that I'm going to put up on over the next couple of weeks. So you'll see more video content coming out from me. There is going to be one more video I'm going to be putting out for this month for the Astro Historian, which is my Squadron 42 look at the organization and and kind of like general overview of the UE Navy, the structure and organization of the UE Navy, which is kind of more of designed around giving you an understanding of how the UE Navy functions, and like the breakdown. We actually have a lot of information on it, like down to what a battle group consists of, which is one capital ship or one carrier, 2 to 4 support capital ships, and then combat support craft. So, like hammerheads would be considered combat support craft, that kind of stuff. Let's see, what else would there be? What else is there? Yes, like that's coming out, and then I am going to be doing part 4 this week, or this week. That's definitely going to get done, but it won't be finished until probably like a week or two. So it probably won't be finished until like February, and then it's going to be only for Patreons for several weeks, if not a month. And I'm also going to do a bunch of different videos. I'm going to do a video on the entirety of the what is it? The doctrines of the UBE Navy. That's going to be an exclusive for patrons for about a month. That's coming in after this next video that's coming out. So that'll come out before the part 4 video comes out. And I'll be doing a couple things. I'm going to do a lore video on the Santo Kiai, because it's got lore out for it. I was going to do that, and that'll be an exclusive for patrons for a while, timed exclusive. So it's basically not just patrons, but also for Ko-fi, because I've got Ko-fi. And I also kind of increased some of the rewards on YouTube. So if you are a member on YouTube for the Astro Historian, you get early access for some of that stuff. So that's just for the Astro Historian. So all of that stuff should be coming out in the next week or so, as long as my voice doesn't shit myself. Doesn't shit itself. A lot of that stuff is going to be in the Patreons and stuff like that. And the reason why I'm putting on Patreons as, you know, for Patreons and like waiting for a while is because right now, for those of you who don't know, YouTube sucks. Like YouTube ad revenue is in the toilet. They're not promoting a lot of long form videos as much anymore. So it's like, eh. And it's also very low hype levels for Star Citizen, because CIG isn't really back to doing videos and stuff like that. That probably won't happen until next week, maybe 2 weeks from now. And when that happens, we'll start to see, you know, more information, but we're probably not going to see a lot of hype for Star Citizen come back until March. So there's no point in me producing a bunch of videos and releasing them only for the algorithm to bury them and then get shit views and nobody cares and nobody watches them, and you know, I cry in a corner. So I'll make them, release them to Patreons, and then everybody else gets access to them a little bit later. So you still get access to them. It's just delayed. And for those of you who are members on the TheAstroPubLive YouTube, I'm going to release a ton of videos that Uri's put together, and those will all be available to you right when they release, and then everybody else will get them when they come out and over the couple of weeks as well. So can't wait to see the Battlefleet video. It'll be interesting to look at that one. It's mostly just informational and stuff that we've kind of already seen. So I'm excited to consume this grilled cheese sandwich. Enjoy the grilled cheese. But everybody else, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching this. I will be seeing you, if not tomorrow, then Sunday. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black. Russian, given you're a teacher, is there a point where you're not sick? Summer.